Part 162. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1612. This house is an L-shaped structure. If you go along the corridor, from the box where they eat in the south to the box in front where they drink tea, there are 7 or 8 rooms in between. The distance is not close, but if you go from window to window, that is an oblique angle, only a little distance away, and the corner of the pool is separated in the middle. Xiang Nan yelled rogue. When Wen heard this, her expression suddenly changed. She threw away the contract in her hand and ran out of the door. The director and brother Yang looked at each other and quickly followed. Wen pushed open the door of the box and saw that Xiang Nan had stood up and retreated to the window, glaring at Boss Chen. Needless to say, Wen also understood what happened. Wen cursed. "What the hell do you want to do?" Boss Chen sat there, silent, with his hands on the table. Brother Yang followed in, saw the scene inside, and quickly advised Wen. "What's the big deal? It's just drinking and everyone is happy. What's the big deal? This is a place to eat. What can we do?" "Shut up," Wen turned around and scolded him angrily. Brother Yang was also annoyed and scolded, "It's your first humming day today. You don't understand this little shit in this industry. Why should the female lead give you tens of millions of dollars in a movie? Are you a big name? Do you think you are Gong Li or Zhang Ziyi? I don't care about other people. Don't do this to us here," Wen shouted. "We don't want to do this either." The director quickly tried to persuade her and said, Wen, if you have anything to say, please speak up. Whatever you say, I trust you and treat you as a good friend, but I didn't expect you to be so unreliable," Wen scolded. "It's none of my business," the director snorted. Brother Yang sneered, "That's a big tone. Okay, if you don't want to act, you can get out right now. I found a lot of people like this. People are chasing after me to be the female lead. There are a lot of people in their school heap." "What did you say?" Wen pointed her finger at Brother Yang. "If you have the guts, if you keep your mouth dirty, let's see if I'll treat you to a slap. What do you think you are? Believe it or not, I'll give you a call and someone will come right away. This place has been torn down." Brother Yang was a little intimidated by this woman's aura. He had heard about it in the circle and knew that this woman was very aggressive and not easy to mess with. Brother Yang looked at Boss Chen. Boss Chen was sitting there with a slight smile, holding the bank card in his hand and tapping the table. He saw that the man surnamed Yang was a little wilted and said with a smile, "Xiao Yang, it seems that there is no way to continue our contract." Brother Yang quickly said, Okay, Boss Chen. Since they are so ignorant of praise, we can change another female lead. I guarantee that she will be more beautiful than her. Director Huang, are you right?" The director nodded quickly. Boss Chen looked at Wen and then at Xiang Nan, then suppressed the smile on his face and said, "This scene is about to be filmed, and I still identify with her. I don't believe that there are still women in this world that I can't handle." Wen snorted and cursed, "Where the hell do you get your confidence? Who do you think you are? Don't you just have 2 bad guys?" "Yes, I just have money." Boss Chen raised the bank card in his hand. "There is 1 million in it. I was kind-hearted and wanted to give it to her as pocket money, but she didn't want it. How about it? If you want it, I'll give it to you." Boss Chen said and handed over the card. Wen became angry. She took a step forward, picked up the cup on the table, poured a glass of water into Boss Chen's face, and cursed. "Don't look down on me. I'll wake you up. Do you know who her mother is?" Wen surprised everyone. Even Boss Chen, who was splashed, was stunned. Hearing what Wen said, he asked calmly, "Who?" "Tan Shahen." Boss Chen was shocked and blurted out, "From splendid China." Wen cursed, "Aren't you rich? Do you want us to make you bankrupt? Boss Chen was so stunned that he even forgot to wipe the water from his face. Wenwen and Xiongnan said, Nanan, let's go. The two of them walked to the door. When they passed the director, Wenwen cursed, go away, don't humming call me again. Zhang Chen and the others were in Shanghai this time, and the filming went very smoothly. They originally thought it would take 1 week to complete, but it turned out that they only took 4 days to finish filming the Tishanwan oil painting gallery episode. This episode was a trial shoot. After filming, Lu Qing and the others went back to finish post-production and then submitted it for review. If there were no objections from the higher UPS after review, the model would be finalized and they would then film Discovery and Enlightenment, which is the episode with Castiglione and the others was shot like this for the entire series. If there are any comments from above, this episode will have to be revised. In short, this episode must be completely finalized before it can continue. After the work was completed, Lu Qing and the others returned to Beijing. Zhang Chen went to the airport to see them off. He did not return to Hangzhou immediately. Instead, he and Xiao Wu went to Lao Wan's place. Lao Wan took Zhang Chen to see what Zhang Chen was doing. The house booked by Xiao Fang. The houses in the entire community have been built, and now we are working on the final greening part of the community. Once this part is completed, the houses can be officially handed over. The building that Lao Wan chose for Xiao Fang was the one closest to Century Garden in the entire community. It was across Ajingxia Road and opposite to Century Garden. It was also on the top floor. He jumped 32 and 33 floors and stood on the large terrace of the house. Above, you can have a panoramic view of the entire Century Park. Zhang Chen was very satisfied with the house. Lao Wan gave Zhang Chen the floor plan of the house, and together with Xiao Wu, they took a measuring tape and measured all the relevant dimensions. Lao Wan and Zhang Chen said, "Boss, just give me the design of the drawings, and I will find the best workers to do the decoration." Zhang Chen said yes, thank you. After finishing this matter, Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu were ready to return to Hangzhou. Lao Wan wanted to stay with them to eat, but Zhang Chen said he wouldn't eat. He would go there for half a day after eating, so why not just eat at the service area? Lao Wan could only give up. When Zhang Chen and the others returned to Hangzhou, it was already past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Zhang Chen sat down in the office, spread out the floor plan of the house, and opened the sketchbook. There were sketches he drew and notes. Those sizes below. This house was for Xiao Fang, so Zhang Chen couldn't follow his own preferences, but had to think hard from Xiao Fang's perspective. He imagined what kind of decoration style Xiao Fang should like. He has no way to call Xiao Fang yet. He knows that if he tells Xiao Fang that he has bought her a house in Shanghai and is now going to decorate it, Xiao Fang will immediately say, "No, she does not need to buy a house and rent an apartment. Or you can stay in a hotel." He knew Xiao Fang would definitely say so. Xiao Fang has probably forgotten about the row house by the Meisi River. Zhang Chen called Xiao Shu. He thought that since their siblings had lived together for a long time, Xiao Shu might know Xiao Fang's preferences. Zhang Chen told Xiao Shu about the matter, and Xiao Shu said excitedly, "Really, brother-in-law, is my sister really ready to return to China?" Zhang Chen said that she was right. She would be ready to come back after Zhang Xiangbei went to college, but she should not tell her parents about this yet. "Okay, I understand, brother-in-law," Xiaoshu said. Talking about decorating the house again, Zhang Chen asked Xiaoshu, "Do you know what style your sister likes?" Xiaoshu thought for a moment and said, "Brother-in-law, I'll think about it carefully, and then I'll draw a picture, and you can look at it and modify it." Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen put away the floor plans and sketchbooks on the table. Since Xiaoshu said he wanted to draw, Zhang Chen wanted to see if he could get any inspiration after seeing Xiaoshu's drawings. Someone knocked on the door and Zhang Chen said, "Come in." The door opened and Zhang Chen was startled. He saw Xiang Nan standing at the door with a backpack on his back and a large suitcase beside him. Zhang Chen quickly stood up and asked. Xiang Nan, where are you from? Airport, Xiang Nan said. Zhang Chen walked over and helped Xiang Nan drag the suitcase in. At the same time, he stretched his head to take a look. He didn't see Tan Shahan behind him. Zhang Chen asked. Where's your mother? I don't know. Xiang Nan shook his head. I can fight you. Your mother didn't pick you up? Zhang Chen asked, surprised. No, she doesn't know I'm back, Xiang Nan said. Zhang Chen was even more surprised and asked, Xiangnan, does your school have winter vacation so early? Xiang Nan shook her head and sat down on the sofa, lowering her head and saying nothing. Zhang Chen saw that Xiang Nan had a strange look on his face and asked, Xiang Nan, did something happen? Tell your uncle. Xiang Nan's face was a little pale. She hesitated for a while, then raised her head and looked at Zhang Chen and said, Uncle, I dropped out of school. Ah, Zhang Chen was startled and asked, what did you say, Xiangnan? Xiang Nan bit his lip and said, I dropped out of school. I don't want to study anymore. Why? Zhang Chen asked. Xiang Nan lowered his head and said nothing again. Zhang Chen looked at her and said slowly. Xiang Nan, isn't the Film Academy your favorite school? Do you remember that we had to go through a lot of effort to get your mother to agree to your application? I know, Xiang Nan whispered, but I don't like it at all now. I can't stay there for a day. Really, uncle, I think if I continue to stay there, I will go crazy. Then you don't like making movies anymore? Zhang Chen asked. I don't like it, Xiang Nan said. Zhang Chen looked at Xiang Nan and saw that her attitude was very serious, not like she was joking. It seemed that her decision to drop out of school was, at least on her part, well thought out. Zhang Chen even understood why Xiang Nan suddenly came back without telling Tan Shahan, and when she arrived in Hangcheng, she didn't go to Tan Shahan's place, but went to herself first. This was really too big, and Xiangnan, after all, was still very young, so she was still a little scared. Zhang Chen stood up, poured a glass of water for Xiang Nan, and said to her, Come on, Xiang Nan, drink some water first, take a rest, and we can talk again later, okay? Okay, Uncle. Xiang Nan nodded. Zhang Chen picked up his cell phone and walked out. He did not call Tan Shahan immediately, but called Wen Wen. He wanted to understand the matter clearly before talking about it. Zhang Chen called Wen Wen's phone and asked her if she knew why Xiangnan dropped out of school. Wen Wen giggled on the other end of the phone and said, What are you talking about? Nanan dropped out of school? Haha, who told you that Nanan is going to drop out of school? Zhang Chen scolded, Who are you kidding? He is in my office right now, and he still has his luggage. Oh no. Why not? I asked several times, and she clearly told me that she dropped out of school, Zhang Chen said. Okay, I'll call the school right away and ask. You wait for my call. Wen Wen panicked when she heard this and said hurriedly. Thank you to book friends 20210410153124786, book friends 120306183317897, Zi Sheng, and the rewards at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you to book friend 120306183317897, book friend 140411182335525, me 197900607, The Wind in My Ears, Wanderers Ialiu, The Toad Dreaming of Flying, Thomas. LHB, Dong Long Dong, Zipanjiang 1 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1613. Zhang Chen sat down on the flower bed and saw Xiao Wu coming from the small door in front. Zhang Chen shouted, Xiao Wu, give me a cigarette. Xiao Wu came over, took out the cigarettes, and said to Zhang Chen, "The cigarettes are gone? I'll give them all to you." Zhang Chen shook his head and said that one stick would be enough. Xiao Wu took out a cigarette from the cigarette case, handed it to Zhang Chen, took out a lighter, and lit it for him. Xiao Wu said, "I'm sending a box of clothes over. Ji Ling and the others are setting up the sample room of the Genshin power plant garment factory." Zhang Chen said yes, and Xiao Wu walked away. Zhang Chen sat there and continued to smoke. Before he finished smoking, Wen Wen's call came back, and Zhang Chen quickly asked, "How about it?" "I called Nan Nan's teacher." The teacher didn't know what was going on. He had just received Nan Nan's withdrawal application and asked a classmate to pass it on. He was also wondering and wanted to call me, so he asked his classmate. My classmates didn't know what was going on, but they knew that Nanan was going back to Hangzhou today and said she would not go back to school again, Wen Wen said. Zhang Chen said, "I understand. Why don't you say anything? Such a big thing would happen," Wen Wen said. "I haven't understood it clearly yet," Zhang Chen said. He thought about it and asked, "Wen Wen, if Xiangnan goes back to school again, is it okay?" "Of course," Wen Wen said, "there is no formal withdrawal procedure. I have asked her teacher to hold Nanan's withdrawal application and not hand it in." Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief and said, "That's good. This way there is still room for things to change. I was worried that the little girl was impulsive. By the way, Wen Wen, has Xiangnan encountered any trouble recently?" "I'll go, it won't have anything to do with that." Wen Wen thought of it and cursed. "What's the matter?" Zhang Chen asked. Wen Wen told Zhang Chen about meeting Boss Chen a few days ago. Wen Wen said, "But she didn't eat enough that day. Nanan and I had a late night snack together, and she seemed to have recovered. I also felt that I was embarrassed to leave her alone in the box at that club." Nanan in turn comforted me and said, it's okay. Don't blame me for this. If you do, blame the gangster named Chen. I'm either her nanny or the nanny. She's already so old, so there's no need for me to be with her all the time. Around me, it was not a big deal for everyone to have a meal together." Nanan also told me that she also knew that there were many such things. Many of her classmates had encountered it, and some of them liked it very much. So they were complacent and showed off when they returned to the dormitory, thinking that they had gotten rich and would be better off in the future. She has a supporter, but she hates this kind of thing. That day, when I sent her back to school, when we broke up, she was still fine. "No, I will come to Hangzhou tomorrow. I must figure this out," Wen Wen said. Zhang Chen originally wanted to say no, but after thinking about it, he decided to say yes. He felt that Xiangnan might just be angry for a moment. After 2 days, he figured it out and it might be fine again. If she really wants to go back to school, Wen Wen still needs to contact her teacher. Wen Wen is here, and it is more convenient to clarify many things. After hanging up Wen Wen's phone, Zhang Chen walked back to the office. When Xiangnan saw him coming in, he asked, "Uncle, are you going to call Wen Wen or my mother?" Zhang Chen laughed and said, "Of course it's Wen Wen. How dare I call your mother before the matter is clarified? Your mother's self-propelled gun will be here in 5 minutes after receiving the call, and then here, just thunder rolled." Xiangnan laughed and said, "Well, I want to come back, but I don't dare to tell Aunt Wen Wen. If she knows, she will definitely pull me and won't let me come back. She might not even go to school. He will let me go back and keep an eye on me 24 hours a day." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, she will do this, but don't think you can get rid of her. She will come tomorrow." "What's she doing here?" Xiangnan called. "What do you think?" Zhang Chen said, "This is a big deal to everyone, but you don't take it seriously." Xiangnan listened and stopped saying anything. "Also, Wen Wen asked your teacher to withhold your withdrawal application form. If you didn't hand it in, your withdrawal application has not yet taken effect. If you rest at home for a few days and still want to go back to school, that's fine Zhangchen, he said Xiang Nan. Xiang Nan shook his head, no, I won't go back. By the way, Xiang Nan, does your decision have something to do with what you encountered a few days ago? Zhang Chen asked. Aunt Wenwen told you about the Xiaoshan people? Xiang Nan asked. Zhang Chen was right, she remembered, if anything irritated you, it was only this one. Xiang Nan shook his head, it doesn't matter much. If it does matter, it was just the last straw that made me decide to drop out of school. It let me know that if I continue to walk on this path in the future, I will often encountering such things and encountering such people. No, Zhang Chen said, in the future, your mother can invest in your movies, and so can your uncle. We won't let you meet such a person again. Xiang Nan smiled and said. To be precise, it's just that we won't meet such investors. What about directors? Where about photographers? Even big-name film critics, and where about exhibitors? There are too many people who can bully us actresses. Zhang Chen was confused and asked, these people you mentioned, can they bully you? What do you think? Xiang Nan said, photography can always make you look ugly, or the angles chosen are deliberately dissatisfying to the director. They will start over again one by one and beat you to death. Those great film critics, no matter how you look at them, they will no matter how hard you work, people will try to trick you and make your efforts go to waste. There are too many of them. Actors like us who are not very famous yet have to be flattered by everyone. Before I went to film school, I didn't have a deep understanding of this industry. Like everyone else, I thought of filmmaking as very simple. Only when I was really involved in this industry did I realize how dirty it is. And we, the actresses, and others, they thought we were very beautiful, but we didn't know that we were just the weakest party. But that's it. In order to survive and to get ahead, everyone still flocks to them. They are surrounded by flies chasing stinky things. It's impossible for you not to become that piece of stinky meat. Some of my classmates are just moving forward step by step. I went back to the dormitory to cry when I felt wronged. After crying, I still had to do this. I can only comfort myself by saying that this is the sacrifice I have to make in order to stand out in the future and to get rid of such a weak position. Uncle, after understanding this, do you know how I feel? Zhang Chen shook his head. All my beautiful imaginations about movies were shattered, Xiang Nan said with a bitter smile. What you see in the cinema is always the most glamorous side of this industry, and behind the scenes, forget it, I even mentioned it, I don't even want to mention it more. Xiang Nan, are you not even interested in performing now? Zhang Chen asked. Interested, Xiang Nan said, Uncle, please don't think that I dropped out of school impulsively. I have already thought about what I want to do in the future. Oh, what do you want to do in the future? Zhang Chen asked. I want to go to my father's place, and I want to act with the troupe, Xiangnan said. Zhang Chen was startled for a moment. He remembered the Xiangnan he saw when he was in Sanya. That Xiangnan was indeed very different from the Xiangnan he saw now. It was the sunny Xiangnan. I like to face the audience directly and watch their reactions on the spot. I can't do this in movies or TV. In addition to being disgusted, I also feel very unsatisfied, Xiang Nan said, it's not as enjoyable as acting. Xiang Nan, have you ever thought about it? Your understanding of the troupe is only scratching the surface now, Zhang Chen said, the troupe is not as good as you imagined. The troupe is still very hard. Otherwise, Uncle, your mother, and, with Uncle Xiao Wu, we will never leave the troupe. I'm not afraid of hardship, Uncle, as long as I can face the audience directly, act for them, and listen to their applause and cheers, Xiang Nan said and laughed. You are talking about hardship, isn't it? Is the salary lower? What's the point? Even if there is no salary, my mother still doesn't support me. If she doesn't support me, my grandparents and grandparents won't do it, and uncle, you won't do it either. Zhang Chen laughed when Xiang Nan said it. Thinking about it, in addition to low wages and poor treatment, what difficulties would the troupe have? And would Xiang Nan care about that salary? Zhang Chen thought seriously. He felt that what Xiang Nan said was reasonable. There would be nothing wrong with her going to the troupe. Isn't there Feng Logui in the troupe? There is nothing to worry about. Besides, the troupe is not after restructuring, it is equivalent to becoming our own company. If Xiangnan joins the theater troupe, he might be able to become the owner in the future, which can make up for Feng Logui's shortcomings. Especially now, isn't it true that the troupe is lacking people like Xiangnan? Zhang Chen said yes, Xiangnan, then I'll call your mother. When she comes over, you can tell her your thoughts. Should you go back to the film school to continue studying, or go to a theater troupe? Let's not draw conclusions now. Can we make a decision after we discuss it? But my mother will definitely not agree to me joining the theater troupe. She will definitely want me to go back to Beijing. Xiangnan became anxious. Xiangnan, if you really hate going to film school again, then tell her exactly why you hate it. Don't exaggerate or hide it. You have to believe that you are your mother's baby and she won't. She makes you do things you hate, and all the decisions she makes are for your own good. As Zhang Chen spoke, Xiangnan sighed and said, Uncle, you won't force me. My mother is hard to say. Zhang Chen smiled and said, what should we do? You can't just go to school and go to your father's place, and then all of us can hide it from your mother, right? Yes, yes, it would be best if this were the case. Xiangnan shouted, then sighed and said, I also know that this is impossible. Okay, uncle, you call her and you want to kill her or cut her into pieces, she's here. Zhang Chen smiled and shook his head. He dialed Tan Shahen's number and said to her, Tan Shahen, come to my place right away. I'm not free. If you have something to do, we'll talk about it after get off work. Xiangnan is here with me. Who? Zhang Chen, who are you talking about? Xiangnan, your daughter Xiangnan, Zhang Chen said. Why is she back? You asked her to answer the phone, Tan Shahen said. Zhang Chen handed the phone to Xiangnan. Xiangnan opened his eyes wide, shook his head in horror, and ran away. She didn't answer. She wanted to wait for you to come over and discuss something with you, Zhang Chen said. Really or not, Zhang Chen, are you lying to me? Tan Shahen asked suspiciously. Zhang Chen scolded, Tan Shahen, am I so boring that I would lie to you about such things? Okay, I'll be right over. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes, 1 up and 1 down, even if I don't know anyone who asked. Thank you to book friend 1609281322375524, my brother with glasses, and my monthly ticket to Fantasy in the Wind. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1614. Kyoshi Academy is not far from the dynamic zone. Tan Shahen heard that Xiangnan was at Zhang Chen's place. She was not as exaggerated as Zhang Chen said. She got here in 5 minutes. However, she still used the fastest speed, only a dozen or so minutes later, she was already there. I was cursing and cursing along the way, complaining that the car in front of me was driving too slowly, and why I was so unlucky. The light was still red after the red light, and I encountered red lights all the way. In Xiangnan's opinion, her mother still came too quickly. In her opinion, her mother had already arrived in less than 5 minutes. Tan Shahen came in and immediately saw Xiangnan's large suitcase standing next to the sofa. Her first question was, Nan Nan, Are you on vacation so early? Xiang Nan shook his head. You are going to Hongdian to shoot a movie, right? Tan Shahen immediately thought that if Xiang Nan went to Hongdian to shoot a film, it would be normal for him to pass by Hangzhou. Come on, Tan Shahen, sit down first and don't ask questions, Zhang Chen said. Go, what does it have to do with you if I ask my daughter? Tan Shahen rolled her eyes at Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen scolded, you want to ask questions, but you can't ask them when you sit down. Tan Shahen sat down next to Xiang Nan, reached out and took Xiang Nan's hand. She was really facing her mother. Xiang Nan was still nervous. Her face was a little pale, but the hand held by Tan Shahen was hot. Tan Shahen saw that Xiang Nan's face was not very good. She raised her right hand and tested Xiang Nan's forehead with the back of her hand. There was no fever. Tan Shahen breathed a sigh of relief. When Zhang Chen saw this scene, he knew that Xiang Nan was feeling scared and did not dare to speak. He also knew that if Tan Shahen knew about Xiang Nan dropping out of school, she would definitely go crazy on the spot. Zhang Chen said, Xiang Nan, you go and play at Zhao Jingjing's place next door, and I'll talk to your mother about something. Xiang Nan seemed to have grasped a life-saving straw, and quickly nodded. She stood up, her left hand was still held by Tan Shahen's hand, she stretched out her right hand, gently opened Tan Shahen's hand, and ran out as if running away go to the door. Tan Shahen was stunned for a moment. Seeing Xiang Nan going out, Tan Shahen stared at Zhang Chen and asked, Zhang Chen, what are you doing? Zhang Chen smiled and said, isn't that what I want to tell you? Say. Tan Shahen stared at Zhang Chen, feeling bad in her heart. Xiang Nan is not on winter vacation, nor is she passing through Hangzhou. When she comes back this time, she is ready to drop out of school, Zhang Chen said. What? Tan Shahen stood up. Zhang Chen, what did you say? Sit down, Zhang Chen said, why are you so surprised? Sit down and say something. Can I sit down? Tan Shahen yelled. Zhang Chen, tell me clearly. Why did you say Xiang Nan dropped out of school? It's not as scary as you think, Zhang Chen said. Xiang Nan just didn't want to study anymore, so she wrote an application to drop out of school. However, Wen Wen had already asked her teacher to withhold the application. Xiang Nan is in Hangzhou. It doesn't matter how many days she stays, she can still continue reading when she goes back. After hearing this, Tan Shahen felt a little relieved and sat down again. Zhang Chen said, as long as we can do the work leading to the south these days, she will be willing to go back to school. I don't care. I want you to do this job. Nan will listen to you, Tan Shahen said. By the way, when I went to film school, I also asked you to be my lobbyist. I remember you said at that time, you be responsible for her. Zhang Chen smiled and said, okay, I'm responsible. Tan Shahen, tell me first, do you really don't care? If you really don't care, I will take Xiangnan home to raise her, and I can still afford to raise her. Dream, do you want to pick up a daughter-in-law for nothing? Then you still want a betrothal gift? Zhang Chen asked. Okay, how much do you want? Tan Shahen waved her hand and cursed. Zhang Chen, I'm warning you, don't try that trick again. You want to smooth things over with a playful smile, right? I don't know why Nanan returned to Hangzhou. She came to you, you picked her up at the airport, right? No, she was able to get here by herself, Zhang Chen said. Did you already know that Nanan was going to drop out of school? Tan Shahen asked. Zhang Chen shook his head and said no, I didn't know until she arrived in my office. However, Tan Shahen, you are right. When she arrived in Hangcheng, she didn't go to you. She came to me first. I think she was indeed a little scared. You self-propelled cannon. You are just willing to be her shield, Tan Shahen scolded. Zhang Chen said yes, I am willing. Do you have an arrow to shoot? Tan Shahen, thank you for being a mother. Until now, you haven't even thought to ask why Xiang Nan wants to drop out of school and why he wants to come back. You think Xiang Nan is an impulsive person who will come back as soon as his head gets hot. Already, Zhang Chen scolded. Tan Shahen was stunned for a moment, and after a while, she said, then you asked, why did she drop out of school? Of course I asked. If I haven't asked clearly, I will call you, Zhang Chen said. I also asked Ween when to find out about it from teacher Xiang Nan to make sure there are no other matters or external reasons. If she wants to drop out of school, she must coming back is entirely Xiangnan's decision. Tan Shahen sighed and said okay, Zhang Chen, then tell me the reason. Zhang Chen told Tan Shahen what Xiang Nan said to him, and said to Tan Shahen, I think there is a reason why Xiang Nan wants to drop out of school. Who wants to survive in such an environment? To be honest, I heard that the circle is so messed up. I can't bear to let Xiang Nan go back again. Tan Shahen sighed and said, I knew the entertainment industry was a bit chaotic, but I didn't expect it to be so unbearable. So, Tan Shahen, I think half of the reason why Xiang Nan wants to drop out of school is your fault, Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen stared at him with wide eyes and cursed, Zhang Chen, you are too good at talking nonsense. What does this have to do with me? Isn't Xiangnan your daughter? Zhang Chen asked, honestly, do you think Xiangnan's temper is similar to yours? I think they are very similar. Like mother, like daughter. Tan Shahen, tell me, if you were in that kind of environment, would you adapt? Would you be complicit? By the way, Tan Shahen, that person named Chen, if you were here, would you also give him a slap? Okay, I can, Tan Shahen said, but even that is not the reason for her to drop out of school. Those who are clean will clean themselves up. We can just ignore all this completely. Don't worry about what other people do, just take care of yourself. Just go to your own school. Then what? Zhang Chen asked. What then? Tan Shahen didn't understand. Go to your own school, and then what? Zhang Chen asked. After graduation and getting a diploma, what next? Then leave the industry, or continue to stay in the industry. Those who continue to clean themselves up, you can even get out of the industry. Money, or maybe I'll pay for it, make 1 or 2 movies, and then continue to clean up myself, insulated from the outside world, and ignore other people. Tan Shahen was asked. Does Xiangnan need fame or profit? Zhang Chen continued to ask. How do I know? Tan Shahen said angrily, but she can't just do nothing because of this. Even though she is at home, I can afford to raise her, and by the way, you can raise her, but you can't do this, otherwise people will be ruined. Of course it can't be like this. What she needs is a life of her own choice. Xiangnan is not as decadent as you think. She doesn't want to be a parasite yet, Zhang Chen said, she has big ideas of her own. She wants to drop out of school. At that time, I thought about what I wanted to do next. To be honest, I was surprised when I heard it before, but when I think about it, it makes sense. Tan Shahen asked, what does she want to do? She wants to go to the theater troupe and be Bai Sahan, Zhang Chen said. Ah, Tan Shahen stood up again and asked, what did you say? She wants to go to the troupe to play Stealing Immortal Grass and 3 invitations to Fan Liwa. What are you talking about? Don't you understand? Zhang Chen asked. Is there anything wrong with Zhang Chen? She didn't go to a good film school and wanted to drop out. I thought she had some lofty ideals. She dropped out just to go to the theater troupe and learn Wu opera. Zhang Chen, she doesn't have a clear mind. You won't know if you follow me, Tan Shahen shouted. What's wrong with Wu opera? What's wrong with singing? Singing is inferior to others, and drama is inferior. Only movies and TV series are noble, right? Tan Shahen, although you don't sing anymore, don't forget that you came from the troupe. You have been studying opera for more than 20 years, so there is no need for you to degrade the opera singer to such a worthless level, right? What are you talking about? Did I say that? Tan Shahen asked. Didn't you say that? Think about the tone of your words earlier. I thought she had some lofty ideals and dropped out of school just to go to the theater troupe and learn Wu opera. In your words, is it true? Judgment of high and low. Is it better to have lofty ideals by not learning Wu opera but to make movies? Boss, bother, don't talk about me, Zhang Chen Tan Shahen scolded. If the troupe is so good, why are you still coming out? Why am I still coming out? I came out because the troupe's treatment was poor and the wages were not paid. There was no way. But if you put this aside, Tan Shahen, what do you think is wrong with the troupe? Zhang Chen pointed at Tan Shahen. Don't talk nonsense, don't talk. But the brain needs to think clearly before talking about it. Now the troupe, but ours, if it is not good, we are also scolding ourselves. Tan Shahen was dumbfounded by Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said. Even Xiangnan has thought about it. She told me that the wages in the troupe are low. She said, so what if there is no salary, my mother will support me. She said, Tan Shahen, when you were in the troupe, if you didn't have to, if you worry about salary and there are still people to support you, would you think the theater company is terrible? Tan Shahen really thought about it. If that was the case, she had to admit that the troupe was really not that bad. Otherwise, she would not have left the troupe for so long and still have feelings for the troupe. Tan Shahen was still a little unconvinced. She scolded, the troupe is so good, Zhang Chen, why don't you let Bai Bei go to the troupe, but you know how to use other people's daughters to pay for it. He doesn't have that talent. If he had that talent, I would definitely let him go. If nothing else, I hate that he doesn't like painting. If he likes painting, I would definitely let him paint. What kind of university is not a university? It doesn't matter if you get there or not, Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen, just be content, Xiangnan has inherited all your talents. Zhang Chen then told Tan Shahen about the Xiangnan he saw in Sanya, on and off the stage. When Zhang Chen was talking, Tan Shahen also remembered the scene when she took Xiangnan in Sanya. At that time, Xiangnan was indeed very happy, just like herself before. Even in the cold winter, she was laying on the ground outside every day. But my heart is full. I don't need to think about anything else every day. I just think about how to perform well on stage. If Xiangnan could be like this, fulfilling every day and being happy every day, what else would be wrong? Tan Shahen was a little moved. Tan Shahen, why are we working so hard and making money? Isn't it just to prevent our next generation from working as hard as us and having to worry about money? Don't we just want to create conditions for them so that they can you choose the life path you like? Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen sighed secretly, yes. Thank you to Crush Killer VIP, 8 Liang, Daos Hung 123, Quadratic VC, at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, third from top to bottom, and 2 fishes one above the other. Thank you 8 Liang, Crush Killer VIP, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, the dragon's name is a bit long, don't stab, Lang 68, Shuanggrui Mahogany Lu Jinping, Purple He, Li Rujin, and Hao, in Gross 11, Zi Zheng said, Sky Racer, Wang Wenhai, Book Friend 2020031823295651 monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1615. Zhang Chen, are you using Professor Zhang's tricks against me? You are really good at talking. Tan Shahen looked at Zhang Chen and said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I'm trying to reason with you. If you have a point, you can still argue. You can convince me, and you can even convince Xiang Nan. Didn't I tell you before? Xiang Nan just needs to accept it. With your advice, if she changes her mind, she can go back to school, and all of us can just pretend that this never happened. I don't have that ability, Tan Shahan said angrily. I really admire this daughter. If she gets stubborn, even a few cows won't be able to pull her back. Isn't that something you inherited? Okay, I'm willing to give up, Tan Shahan said impatiently. By the way, Tan Shahan, there is one thing, have you ever thought about it? Zhang Chen asked. What's up? When the building of our theater is completed, and that building plus the theater troupe, it will become a large-scale company. Aren't you still worried that Lao Gui is not capable enough? If Xiang Nan goes here, won't it be able to make up for him? This can be regarded as taking over from you in advance. I think that since Xiang Nan is managing this area, he might also be able to inherit your genes, Zhang Chen said. Go away, I'm too tired to think that far. No matter how annoying you are, you have to face it. By the way, Wen Wen will also come tomorrow. She should be on your side, or... Halfway through Zhang Chen's words, the door opened and Xiang Nan walked in from the outside. She looked at Tan Shahan. Fortunately, her face was not as clouded as she imagined. Xiang Nan smiled at them. The financial center next door is closed. Nan Nan, come here. Tan Shahan waved to the south, walked over to the south, sat down next to Tan Shahan, leaned against Tan Shahan, and put her hand into Tan Shahan's hand. Tan Shahan felt her heart softening instantly. Tan Shahan and Xiang Nan said, Nan Nan, Uncle Zhang Chen has told Mom about your matter. You really have to go your own way. As long as you decide, Mom will not object, but Mom is worried about you. Don't regret it again in a few days and feel that your decision was wrong. Mom, I won't. I definitely won't regret it. I thought about it for a long time before making this decision, Xiang Nan said. Don't say it so quickly, Nanan, promise Mom, you'll stay at home for the next 2 days. Think calmly, Mom, calm down too. If we have any ideas, let's have a good discussion. If you finally feel like you want to go back to school, let's go back to school and continue schooling. If you really don't want to go back and want to join the theater troupe, Mom won't put any more pressure on you, okay? Xiang Nan nodded and said yes, thank you Mom. Zhang Chen looked at his watch. It was already past 6 o'clock. Zhang Chen said let's go have dinner. Xiangnan, what do you want to eat? Tuxianjai Yuan, I want to eat something spicy, Xiang Nan called. Zhang Chen said yes, I'll call and ask where there are private rooms. Whatever you want to fight, just go there, Tan Shahan said, there are no private rooms, so you can sit in the lobby. Zhang Chen said, at this time, there may not even be a seat in the lobby, so you have to wait. Then just wait, what are you afraid of? Tan Shahan said, while Xiang Nan nodded him on the side. The three of them went downstairs and drove Tan Shahan's car there. When they arrived at the Tuxianjai Yuan Hotel on Yan'an Road, Tan Shahan dropped Zhang Chen and Xiang Nan at the door, and she went to park the car herself. Zhang Chen and Xiang Nan stood outside the gate waiting for Tan Shahan. Zhang Chen asked Xiang Nan, you want to go to the troupe so much? Do you have any ideas about the troupe? Of course, I have a lot of ideas, Xiang Nan said. Then I'll tell you everything later and give myself some weight. Do you understand? Zhang Chen said. Xiang Nan chuckled and said, I know, uncle. Tan Shahan arrived and the three of them walked inside. The greeter at the door panicked when she saw Zhang Chen. She looked at the order form in her hand and said to Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, I'm sorry, I may have forgotten to write down your order. Do you know which private room it is? Zhang Chen smiled and said, we just came here on a last-minute basis and didn't make a reservation. The greeting guests breathed a sigh of relief. When the general manager saw them, he quickly came over and said to him, "Mr. Zhang, please wait a moment, and I will find a way to arrange a seat for you right away." Zhang Chen saw many people sitting in front of the cashier waiting for a seat. He smiled and said, "No, we are just waiting in line. There is no need to jump in line. Give us a number," Xiang Nan said, and the receptionist quickly brought a number to her. Looking to the south, there were about 20 tables in front of her. She pulled Tan Shahen and said, "Mom, I'll invite you to drink Brother Minchen's milk tea." After the Ban Mu Tian specialty store on Yan'an Road was demolished, the milk tea shop owned by Liu Bang, the founder of the Han Dynasty, was also demolished. The new milk tea shop they later opened is on the podium of the International Building, not far from here. The mother and daughter walked out. Zhang Chen found a stool and sat down. The general manager was still standing beside him. Zhang Chen said to her, "You are busy with your own business and don't worry about me." The general manager said yes. Zhang Chen remembered and asked, "Hui Huan isn't here. She went to Shanghai. Our second store in Shanghai will open after the Chinese New Year," the general manager said, and Zhang Chen nodded. Zhang Chen sat there, watching people coming in and out. The business was very busy, and people kept coming in from behind, lining up behind Zhang Chen and the others. The receptionist looked at Zhang Chen sitting there, fearing that he would be lonely, so he came over and asked, "Mr. Zhang, do you want to read newspapers and magazines? I can get them for you." Zhang Chen shook his head and said, "No, thank you." After a while, the greeter came over again and asked, "Mr. Zhang, do you want some bubble gum?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "No, thank you, you are busy with your business and don't worry about me." The welcome said yes. Zhang Chen knew that in Yingban's eyes, he must feel that sitting like this, doing nothing, was boring. How could she know that Zhang Chen was very satisfied sitting here, watching people coming in and out? But they are all his guests, and everyone looks so cute. Even those old men who came down from upstairs, even their necks were red, and they were staggering when they walked, they all looked so cute, which would not be seen in other stores, in other people's stores. Such a feeling. Zhang Chen thought of how he and Xiao Zhao had just opened a store in Sijiking. The market was deserted and dead. At that time, they were sitting in the stall, looking forward to seeing someone walking around the door of the store, especially when they saw that there were still people walking around. When someone comes to your store, you will instantly become nervous and your heart will beat fast. Zhang Chen thought of the little girl from the bank at the entrance of the market who often came to their stall. She was no longer young anymore. I wonder how she is doing now. I hope she lives a happy life. Zhang Chen remembered that time. Every time Xiao Zhao talked about this little girl, his tone was sour, and Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh. "Why are you sitting alone and giggling?" Tan Shahen and Xiang Nan came back with a cup of milk tea in their hands. Zhang Chen didn't notice it. Tan Shahen asked him, and Zhang Chen quickly said that it was okay, and he remembered a funny thing from before. Xiang Nan handed the bag in her hand to Zhang Chen. Inside was a cup of milk tea she brought back for Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen took it in his hand and asked, "Have you met Min Sheng?" Tan Shahen said no, brother Lu went to Guangzhou, and Min Heng had been in their central kitchen in Xiaosha these 2 days. Zhang Chen nodded. Zhang Chen looked at the milk tea in his hand and asked Xiang Nan, "Uncle doesn't want to drink milk tea now, can I give this away?" Xiang Nan nodded. Zhang Chen stood up, walked to the guest, and said to her, "Come, I'll treat you to milk tea." The greeter quickly said, "Thank you, Mr. Zhang. We are not allowed to eat while we are at work." As soon as he finished speaking, he remembered that the other party was the boss. The receptionist laughed, quickly took the milk tea, and said, "Thank you, Mr. Zhang." Zhang Chen said, "Just drink secretly without being seen by your boss." The guest smiled and said, "Okay, when I see it, I will tell you that you gave it to me. Okay, Zhang Chen said, if you want to deduct the bonus, let her deduct mine. Tan Shahen took the order form from the greeter and said to her, you can find a place to drink, I will do it for you. The greeter quickly said thank you to Mr. Tan. The welcome guest walked away with the milk tea, looked at them towards the south, and asked playfully, what are you doing, are you trying to lead the people below? Tan Shahen smiled and said, I don't know, if you ask him, it's the person below him anyway. Zhang Chen said, the advantage of being a boss is that you can criticize the people below you for making mistakes, and you can also instruct the people below you to make mistakes. You, Tan Shahen cursed, and the three people left. The other guests who were waiting for their meals didn't hear what they were saying, but they felt that this family of three was really affectionate, and the parents were too young, and the mother and daughter looked like sisters. When the guests came back from drinking milk tea, it was Zhang Chen's turn. Zhang Chen didn't ask the waiter to lead them in. He just asked for the station number. He knew where it was. The three people sat down on a small table in the hall. The orderer came over immediately. When he saw it was them, he was stunned again and blurted out, why are you guys? Zhang Chen smiled and said, why, you're not welcome. The orderer quickly said, no, boss, aren't you all eating inside? Zhang Chen said, there are no seats inside. We waited in line at the gate for more than half an hour to get there. The ordering clerk looked at Zhang Chen suspiciously, as if he was lying to me. Zhang Chen said, we want very spicy dishes. If we don't order them, you can arrange them for us. Is it okay to have 2 pots, 3 hot dishes, and 1 cold dish? The orderer asked. Zhang Chen said yes. The ordering clerk wrote down the menu and showed it to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen motioned for her to show it to Xiang Nan. Xiang Nan said without even looking at it, okay, I almost want to die. Every dish here is delicious. The orderer smiled and left. The food came quickly. Zhang Chen drank, while Tan Shahen and Xiang Nan drank hot corn juice. After the three of them ate and drank for a while, Zhang Chen asked Xiang Nan. Xiang Nan, if you really want to go to the troupe, do you have any ideas? Xiang Nan said, I want to put on new plays, and I think Wu opera also needs to keep pace with the times. I want to put on new Wu opera, modern Wu opera, so that it can attract young audiences and urban audiences. Modern Wu opera? It's interesting, how to do it? Zhang Chen asked. Xiang Nan said, do you still remember Zhang Guangtian? I have participated in his plays. Remember, it's the one who ranked Che Guevara and Rhinoceros in love, Zhang Chen said. Yes, drama is very advanced now. I think I have received a lot of inspiration from him. If drama can be changed, why can't Wu opera be changed? Xiang Nan said. Tan Shahen reminded, Nanan, it's okay to want to change, but you have to be down to earth. You can't just think about changing before you know much about Wu opera. Changes should only be made after a deep understanding, so that you can only by grasping the soul of Wu opera can it never deviate from its origins, rather than changing and changing, thus disappearing Wu opera. Xiang Nan, did you hear that? Your mother's experience is very good. This old artist is just different, Zhang Chen said. Get out, Tan Shahen cursed and laughed to the south. Xiang Nan said, next, I want to follow a person for a while and learn from him. Who? Zhang Chen asked. Teacher by Xian Yang, his youth version of Kun opera The Peony Pavilion is now touring across the country and is very popular. I want to learn from him and see how he reformed Kun opera, Xiang Nan said. Zhang Chen asked, do you know Bai Xian Yang? I don't know him, but I know that Zia Hua. They, Fuban Financial Holdings, have funded many literary and artistic groups in Taiwan and have connections with them. Xiang Nan said, he said he could help me introduce him. He also knows Lin Huimin, the teacher of Cloud Gate Dance Theater. I also want to go to Taipei to see how the Cloud Gate Dance Theater trains and performs. I think I have a religious piety towards dance, and I hope that everyone in the future theater troupes can also have this attitude towards drama, so that they can find their own way. Zhang Chen nodded and said to Xiang Nan. Yes, no matter what you do, you really have to be a little paranoid, which is what you call religious piety. Isn't it true that only paranoid people can survive? This Lin Huimin is a bit paranoid about modern dance. He is the kind of person who likes to get into trouble. People. As Tan Shahen listened, her heart felt empty. She felt that there was no need to think about it calmly. Her daughter knew it. She understood that Xiang Nan had already decided to go to the theater, even if it was dark. Tan Shahen really wanted to kick Zhang Chen. This daughter is already trying to get to the end of her road. If you don't open up the pot, you are talking about being over the top. Thank you Daos Hung 123, Lao Shenza Sang, Dong Long Dong, and Wooden Man for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1616. At noon the next day, Wen Wen arrived in Hangzhou. However, by the time she arrived in Hangzhou, there was no use for her. Xiangnan's matter had been settled in their family. Lao Tan and MRS Tan also supported Xiangnan. Go to the troupe, Lao Tan said, those who make movies are messy, we Nan don't want to be with them, we should go back to the troupe to be quiet. MRS Tan is happy that Xiangnan has been admitted to the film school. She is also happy that Xiangnan is back now. Her happiness coincides with Xiangnan's happiness. As long as Xiangnan is happy, she is happy. MRS Tan also told Tan Shahen that when Nan goes back to Yongcheng, your father and I will also go back and let Nan live at home and we can take care of her. When Nan goes out to perform, we will come back to Hangzhou. Tan Shahen also felt that if Xiang Nan wanted to return to Yongcheng, it would be best for her parents to go and take care of her. Although Feng Logui was in the group, he would definitely take care of Xiang Nan, but he is a man after all. And Tan Shahen doesn't know if he has any spare time of his own now. Following her grandparents, Xiangnan was not cared for in every possible way. Tan Shahen told her mother that you can go back, but the house in the courtyard of the dormitory of the cultural system is already so old, how can you live in it? I will buy another house in Yongcheng so that you can live there easily when you return. MRS Tan quickly said no, she had everything in the house, but no one had lived in it for a long time. After cleaning it, it was still the same as before. Tan Shahen was a little anxious and shouted. Oh, I am in Yongcheng now. I have so many projects. I am engaged in real estate. If you go back and still live in that shabby house, I won't be scolded by others. Lao Tan was unhappy when he heard this and scolded, hypocritical, don't forget that you grew up in that shabby house. Why, now it's so serious that you don't look down on that house. MRS Tan also said that no matter how old the house is, it is still her home. Why spend the extra money? Isn't the home easy to live in? Besides, living there, everyone is an old colleague upstairs and downstairs. In the pot, it is also convenient to go out and borrow some soy sauce. Tan Shahen burst into laughter and said. How many years have you not been back? It seems like you really don't understand the dormitory yard of the cultural system. Do you know who is living there now? Who are they? Aren't they people from the cultural system? MRS Tan said. Come on, call and ask, look at your old neighbors and see how many of them are still living there. Let me tell you, more than 90% of that yard is now occupied by tenants. In the towns below, people who come to the city to do business and work live there. Everyone has bought new houses and moved out. That place is waiting for demolition. That yard is now one of the most dilapidated and filthy yards in Yongcheng. Are you really planning to live there? Lao Tan and Mrs. Tan were silent after hearing what Tan Shahan said, especially when Tan Shahan said that their old neighbors had already bought new houses and moved out. If they went back to Yongcheng and still lived there, it would be a good thing in terms of face. I really can't stand it. When I meet an acquaintance, it takes me a long time to explain why I still live there. Tan Shahan saw that the two old men had stopped talking and knew that they had no objection. She picked up the phone and called Mr. Feng of their Yongcheng branch and told him that among the 3 houses still left in Jingxiu Yufu, I want one for myself. After a while, my daughter will come to you to go through the formalities, and her name will be written on the real estate certificate. Mr. Feng said, okay, I understand, Mr. Tan. Lao Tan and Mrs. Tan were listening to Tan Shahan's call. After Tan Shahan finished the call, she looked at them. Lao Tan looked away. After a while, he stood up and walked away. Mrs. Tan whispered to Tan Shahan. Ignore him, that's it. By the way, Zhen Zhen, where is this house? Tan Shahan said, it's right on the riverside where the Wajiapi winery was. Hey, is that close to the farmer's market? Mrs. Tan asked, and Tan Shahan said yes, it was only 200 or 300 meters away. The housing problem has been solved. The main members of the Yongcheng Wu opera troupe are still performing in Sanya. Feng Logui is also recruiting people outside. Xiang Nan is not in a hurry to go there. Tan Shahan and Xiang Nan said that they would take advantage of this time to report. I will take a class and get my driver's license, so that it will be more convenient to travel between Hangzhou and Yongcheng in the future. Say yes to the south. Also, the troupe will not be like it is now. Construction of the theater will start soon after the new year. After the construction is completed, there will be a cinema, theater, hotel, shopping mall, supermarket, etc. under the troupe. The scale of the company is unprecedented in Yongcheng. Not too small. Your father has never been exposed to any business management before, and although you have no experience in actually participating in business operations, I think you have probably learned a lot about many things since you were a child, watching and listening to them. Tan Shahan said, nodding to Nan. Tan Shahan said, after you go, help your father more in the management of the company. Say yes to the south. In business management, the most important thing is financial management. Starting tomorrow, you will go to the company's finance department every day to learn from them and learn more about finance. The troupe originally had no finance, and it was all managed by the Cultural Affairs Bureau's finance department. After the restructuring, we will have our own independent financial department. Your father knows nothing about this, so you need to understand. Mom, can I go to Uncle Zhang Chen's place and learn from Aunt Zhao Jingjing? Xiang Nan asked. Wenwen is here. Let's have dinner together tonight. You can ask Uncle Zhang Chen yourself, Tan Shahan said. Say yes to the south. Dinner was still at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel on Yan'an Road. When Tan Shahan and Xiang Nan arrived, they saw that Zhang Chen, Lao Yang, and Xiao Wu had already arrived. Wenwen and Zhao Jingjing were also sitting here. Zhao Jingjing would be there, which was beyond Tan Shahan's expectation. Unexpected. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan said that Xiangnan is not in a hurry to return to Yongcheng now. I think they should let her learn financial knowledge from Zhao Jingjing. Logui knows nothing about this, and he won't be able to learn it now. Tan Shahan and Xiang Nan laughed. Xiang Nan looked at Zhang Chen and said, you two really have a good understanding. Tan Shahan quickly explained that I was at home earlier and asked Nanan to follow me to the company's finance department starting tomorrow. She said she wanted to go to your place and learn from Zhao Jingjing. Zhao Jingjing smiled and said, okay, Nanan, I will definitely teach you everything without reservation. I still want to learn to drive from Uncle Xiao Wu, Xiang Nan said, I still want to continue practicing. Xiao Wu said yes. Lao Yang shouted from the side, "Oh, now that we are back to the south, plus the people recruited by Lao Geixin, now the troupe and the newcomers can join in a show. They are really strong, and I feel itchy just looking at it. I want to go back." "Don't even think about it, I don't dare to undermine Shuwen," Tan Shuhen said. Zhang Chen said, "I called Lao Gui this afternoon and told him about Xiang Nan." Lao Gui was very happy. Tan Shuhen asked, "How is Lao Gui's place?" Zhang Chen said, "Lao Yang still has more face. There are 5 actors and 2 piano players confirmed by Lao Gui, and their troupe also agreed to let them go. Plus those from Xiongnan and the Provincial Art School." Lao Yang is right. It is true that even newcomers can put together a show. Xiang Nan, after you go, you must be mentally prepared. I am afraid Bai Suhen will have to compete before she can get on." Xiang Nan said, "Yes, I like fair competition." Wen Wen stood there with a grimace on her face. She pointed to Zhang Chen, then pointed to the south and said, "You are so happy, why am I so unlucky?" This one saw the market rising, so he washed his hands and quit the world. This one saw that his stardom was about to be bright, and quit again. "How can I be an agent? Such a failure." Everyone laughed, and Zhang Chen said, "Aren't you still helping me with my programs and books?" "That workload is too small," Wen Wen said. "Aren't you still the agent of the troupe?" "The entire troupe has been handed over to you," Tan Shuhen said. Wen Wen pointed at Lao Yang and asked, "Then what should I do, like him, wandering around the vast countryside of the motherland?" Lao Yang said, "I will find out one of my address books and give it to you." "Don't tell me, I have contacts in every township and town in Wenzhou and Jinhua." "Go, I don't want it," Wen Wen said. "If I want to take it, I will take the troupe to big cities and abroad. Ha ha, we have it." Wen Wen said and suddenly burst into laughter. Everyone was puzzled by her laughter. Wen Wen said, "I came up with a good idea. I came to the media and the internet to hype it up first. Top students from the Beijing Film Academy and future film and television stars gave up their stardom and went to a local theater troupe to study drama. What about this theme? Yes, isn't it sensational? Isn't it very eye-catching?" Tan Shuhen looked at her and wanted to say something. Wen Wen said, "You are not allowed to interfere in this matter, Sister Zhen Zhen. You have to trust my professional judgment. I posted the stills and beauty photos of Nan Nan online and in newspapers and magazines. Think about it, will this affect the whole country? Especially if young people know about Feng Xiongnan? Especially, it will arouse their strong interest and want to know what this Wu opera is and what is attractive about it. Yes, yes, I support you. The aroma of wine is also afraid of the deep alley. Our Wu opera really needs to shout loudly." Lao Yang patted the table and shouted. Xiang Nan was a little anxious and said, "Aunt Wen Wen, I still don't want it anymore." "Why not?" Wen Wen said, "You are not fighting alone now, understand? You are shouldering the important task of revitalizing Wu opera. Do you think this is to promote you? This is to revitalize Wu opera. Don't you always I like to talk about Bai Xianyang's youth version of Conque opera, the Peony Pavilion. Without the media and internet hype, who would have known about it? By the way, Wen Wen, the Con opera you mentioned has a lot to do with our Wu opera," Lao Yang said. "Really, Uncle Yang?" Xiongnan asked curiously. "Of course, Wu opera was renamed after liberation. Wasn't Jinhua originally called Was Hu, so it was officially renamed Wu opera," Lao Yang said. "Xiang Nan, do you know what Wu opera was called before liberation?" Xiang Nan shook his head. Lao Yang said, "It's called Jinhua opera. It is a combination of 6 tunes, Jiaoqiang, Kunqiang, Luantan, Huixi, Tanhuang, and Qidiao. This Kunqiang is a branch of Conque opera spread in Jinhua and Kuzhu. It's called Cao Kun and Jing Kun. By the way, it's the Peking opera. In terms of seniority, our Wu opera is also its father." "No way," Lao Yang, this is a bit exaggerated. Why do I feel that the more you talk about it, the more you talk about it, Ween Wen said. Of course it's true. Don't forget that Peking opera is the most famous now. It is actually a little brother in the drama. How it was formed was after the four major Anhui troops came to Beijing during the Qianlong period, and then it evolved into the later Peking opera, Hui troupe. What is sung is Hui opera. Didn't I mention before that Wu opera used to be a combination of Hui opera and 5 other tunes? If you don't believe me, go check it out. In 1990, the Ministry of Culture held an event in Beijing to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the Hui troupe's entry into Beijing. Our Wu opera was also invited to participate. Do you think this is when I went to Beijing to recognize my son? Already. Lao Yang talked about Wu opera as a treasure. Ween Wen said, okay, Lao Yang, please provide me with all this information. Lao Yang said yes. By the way, Lao Yang, when the internet becomes lively, I will give you the link and you can go in and talk more about this, so that people know that we are still literate and we are not messing around, Ween Wen said. Lao Yang said yes, if you give me the link when the time comes, I will definitely join in to support it. By the way, I also invited a few theater researchers to join in to support it. Isn't it all to make Wu opera popular? Very good. Ween Wen became more and more excited as she talked. She said, next, I will conduct follow-up reports. We can't let the heat cool down. The theater troupe's new building is about to be built. What new plays are Nanan and the others arranging? I must make them the most popular theater troupe on the internet. Nan Nan has become an internet celebrity and has a large number of fans. Now that the new drama is scheduled, are you worried that no one will watch it? Let me tell you, these people on the internet now, these people who are chasing stars, have no brains. They don't care what you are doing, even if you are pulling. Ween Wen stopped abruptly. Everyone was eating, this was at the dinner table. Everyone present knew what she wanted to say and why she stopped suddenly. Everyone laughed. Really, they still watch it with gusto, Ween Wen said. Lao Yang smiled and said, if you perform this, a lot of people will watch it. Go, Ween Wen cursed. After dinner, Ween Wen followed Zhang Chen back upstairs to the dynamic zone. She wanted to contact and implement this matter. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan thought about it. This is for the troupe, especially for more people to know and understand Wu opera. It is indeed beneficial, there is no way for two people to stop it. Zhang Chen sat at the conference table. He felt that he had some ideas about the decoration of Xiaofang's house, so he drew the renderings before Xiaoshu's paintings were delivered. He gave his desk and computer to Ween Wen. Ween Wen was busy in front of the computer for a while, made a few more phone calls, stood up, clapped her hands and said, okay, there are 2 newspapers and a magazine. I will come over for an exclusive interview in the next 2 days. It has also been arranged online. Next time weekly, Weibo and chat rooms, as well as entertainment news, collective bombing, by the way, the restructuring of your theater troupe, and the renderings of the new building should also be given to me. Zhang Chen said yes. It looks like I'm going to stay in Hangzhou for a while and watch the rise of Nan Nan, an internet celebrity. Ween Wen walked over while talking, stood aside and watched Zhang Chen draw, and asked, which little girl is the new house designed for? Get lost, Zhang Chen cursed, this is Xiaofang's house in Shanghai. She is ready to return to China. Yeah, very beautiful, Ween Wen nodded and said, by the way, if I get married in the future, can you help me design a new house? Zhang Chen said yes. Ween Wen thought for a moment and sighed, forget it, it's better not to do it. Otherwise, when my husband and I were doing that on the bed, I would look around and remember that this was your design. I was afraid that I would kick him get out of bed. Zhang Chen laughed. What a laugh, Ween Wen cursed, but she followed and immediately started laughing. Thank you Quadratic VC for the reward of 2 fishes, 1 up and 1 down, at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly votes from Broken Dreams in the Void, 48 years old, Toad with Dreams of Flying, Lao Zi, Shi Yitan, Book Friends 2018090622320494, Book Friends 201808030256355047, and Book Friends 1609281322375524. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1617. Zhang Chen sat there and continued painting. Wenwen was not idle. She turned and walked out of the door. She stood at the door and looked upstairs. The lights of the foreign trade company were bright. Xiaoli thought about whether to go upstairs to play with Su Kioxin. She also knew that they were very busy right now. Giligula was either on the phone or using a computer, and kept talking to foreigners in English, but she couldn't understand a word of it. Means nothing. Wenwen looked to both sides. She saw a figure squatting in the dormitory building smoking from a distance. The fireworks were clearly extinguished in the darkness. Wenwen was curious, who was squatting in the cold wind at this late night? Wenwen walked over, and when she got closer, she saw that the person squatting there smoking was Xiao Jin. Wenwen laughed and cursed. I thought it was someone who was not afraid of the cold. It turned out to be a hero. Why, you didn't go to escort Xiaoli? It's still early, we didn't arrive until after 10 o'clock, Xiao Jin said. Ho ho, you went early, are you afraid of being scolded by Xiaoli? Wenwen said. Xiao Jin chuckled, I can't scold her, but she always asks me to do some work that women do. It's so annoying. I almost lose my dignity when I do it. Wenwen laughed, and Wenwen suddenly remembered. She said, come on, hero, let me tell you something. This man did it. What's up? Wenwen squatted down next to Xiao Jin and chatted with him. When Xiao Jin heard this, he became angry and asked. Where is this guy? I'm going to find him to settle the score. Wenwen stood up and said, just wait, I'll find his business card. Wenwen walked back to Zhang Chen's office, found Boss Chen's business card from her bag, and walked out. She handed her business card to Xiao Jin and said to him, don't tell anyone else about this, especially. I know, I'm sorry. If brother Zhang Chen and sister Shahen knew about it, they would definitely not let me go. Yes, Wenwen said, also, don't be too harsh. Just teach him a lesson and don't cause trouble. I know, do you think I have no brain? Xiao Jin asked. Wenwen laughed and said yes, I think you have the most brains. You are both wise and courageous. In the past, you were a military team behind enemy lines. You could put a gun to the head of a traitor. I said, on behalf of the people sentenced you to death. Xiao Jin chuckled, took out a cigarette and asked Wenwen, would you like to take a cigarette? Wenwen agreed, but she wouldn't kiss anyone today anyway. Xiao Jin laughed. Boss Chen's company is not in Xiaoshan, but in an office building in Binjiang. Xiao Jin went to Gongchen Kiao factory with Xiao Li in the morning. He told Xiao Li that he got up late today and I didn't even eat breakfast. I went to have breakfast. Xiao Li waved her hand. Xiao Jin walked out of the workshop and went to the yard outside. He saw someone locking the bicycle in the bicycle shed. Xiao Jin shouted, don't lock it, don't lock it. Lend me the bicycle. Xiao Jin rode his bicycle to the street over Gongchen Bridge and found a public phone. He took out Boss Chen's business card. There were 3 phone numbers on the business card, one was a mobile phone and the other was the phone number in Boss Chen's office. There is also a phone number for the company. Xiaojin thought for a moment and dialed the company's phone number. The phone rang twice and was picked up. A pleasant girl's voice came through. Xiaojin judged that this should be the company's front desk. Xiaojin asked, "Excuse me, is Mr. Chen here?" "Sir, Mr. Chen is not here yet," the other party said. "Okay, I'm from the Quality Supervision Bureau. My surname is Wang. Your boss, Mr. Chen, is here. You tell him to wait for me in the office at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and don't go away," Xiaojin said. The other party said, "Okay, I wrote it down." After hanging up the phone, Xiaojin rode his bicycle back. He walked into the office and sat down. He started to play the game. After finishing a few games, he pretended to just remember it and said to Xiao Li opposite, "By the way, my dad is coming over in the afternoon, and I have to pick him up at the train station." Xiao Li said oh and said with a smile, "Then you want to treat him to delicious food tonight? Do you want me to book Tuxian Jiayuan for you?" "No, no, no, he was just passing by. He arrived at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I picked him up at the train station and took him to the West bus station to take a bus," Xiaojin said. "Why, I never heard that your father is coming. This is a rare visit. Why don't you go to Hangzhou to have fun?" Xiaoli asked. "What fun thing is there in Hangzhou? He has something to do at home and has to rush back," Xiaojin said. "I want to take a day off in the afternoon." Xiaoli said, "Okay, just go." At around 12 o'clock, Xiaojin drove away from the Gongchen Kiao factory and crossed the Qiantang River. When he arrived at Binjiang, it was only 1:30. Xiaojin found the office building, but did not drive in. "I drove in front of it, drove to an office building next door, turned into the parking lot and stopped." Xiaojin sat in the car for a while until 2 o'clock, then got out of the car, walked to Boss Chen's office building next door, and went upstairs. By the time he walked to Boss Chen's company, it was already 2:10. The little girl at the front desk looked up at him and Xiaojin said, "I'm from the Quality Supervision Bureau." "Oh, I know, it's Leader Wang. We, Mr. Chen, are waiting for you." The little girl stood up and led Xiaojin inside. She first passed a large office area, where dozens of men and women sat working, and then walked into a corridor. The office doors on both sides of the corridor were open, and there were people inside. At the office, the little girl led Xiaojin to the innermost part of the corridor, stood at the open door and said inside, "Mr. Chen, Leader Wang from the Quality Supervision Bureau is here." Xiaojin walked over, and the little girl smiled and nodded to him, made a gesture of invitation, then left and returned to her post. Xiaojin walked in, and he saw a thin middle-aged man sitting behind the executive desk. He stood up when he saw Xiaojin coming in. Xiaojin raised his hand to say hello to him, and at the same time turned around and opened the office. The door is closed and locked. "Are you from Laolin and the others? Why haven't I seen you before?" Boss Chen asked. Xiaojin smiled and said nothing. He walked to Boss Chen and said to him, "Yes, you haven't met me, but there is a friend you should know." "Who?" "My surname is Yang from Beijing. You were in Beijing a few days ago. Didn't you still have dinner together?" Xiaojin said. Boss Chen looked at Xiaojin and seemed to understand something. His face was a little uneasy. "But think about it, this is his own company. There are people outside, and he is just one person. What is there to be afraid of?" Boss Chen grinned. He smiled and was about to say something when Xiaojin put a hand on his shoulder and said to him, "Boss Chen, don't be so polite. Sit down and talk." Boss Chen stood still, the smile on his face a little stiff. Xiaojin also put his other hand on his shoulder, and when he exerted force with both hands, Boss Chen fell down on the chair before he could react. Xiaojin waved his left hand, pressed Boss Chen's head on the executive desk in front of him, held it down, and punched twice with his right hand. Boss Chen screamed and turned into a panda. Before Boss Chen could scream again, with a sound, Xiao Jin's hand grabbed Boss Chen's crotch, and Boss Chen bared his teeth and said ouch twice. Xiao Jin asked, "Do you know why I came to you?" Boss Chen was in unbearable pain, and his head was pressed by Xiao Jin again. He could only say vaguely, I know, you are 10. Xiao Jin said shh, and Boss Chen immediately shut up. Xiao Jin asked, will you be able to live here in the future? Boss Chen quickly said, yes, 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 yes. No one asked me to come. I am doing justice for heaven. Do you understand? If you can't control it anymore, I will cut you off next time. Okay, okay. Xiao Jin then let him go and walked away. Boss Chen's eyes were swollen and his vision was a little blurry. Tears and mucus were streaming down his face. He quickly rolled up his sleeves and wanted to shout for help, but he didn't dare. He knew that as long as he shouted, this ferocious guy would definitely pounce on him and give him a good punch. He could only look at Xiao Jin with shame, anger, and hatred. Xiao Jin walked to the refrigerator, opened the door, took out a bottle of Coca-Cola, unscrewed the lid, took a sip, then walked to the sofa and sat down. Xiao Jin turned around and said to Boss Chen, what are you waiting for? Why don't you call the police? I'll sit here and wait. Let's go to the police station together and explain the matter clearly. Boss Chen trembled, swallowed his saliva and said, if you don't call the police, why call the police? Xiao Jin smiled, I beat you, but you didn't call the police. Can't we explain it clearly when we go to the police station? By the way, you are such a big boss, you should have some acquaintances at the police station here, right? If you don't report it, you won't report it. Boss Chen shook his head like a rattle. This kind of thing is so embarrassing. Even if you go to the police station, you can't explain it clearly. Xiao Jin said yes, Boss Chen still knows shame, which means there is still hope. Xiao Jin stood up and walked over. Boss Chen was sitting there. He leaned back subconsciously and the executive chair slid back. Xiao Jin stopped and asked, have you thought about it? You really don't want to call the police? No fight, no fight. Okay, if you don't hit me, then leave. If we, it's not right to say goodbye. Boss Chen definitely doesn't want to see me again, right? Xiao Jin asked. Boss Chen frowned, smiled, and looked very embarrassed. He felt that it was neither right nor wrong to say this. Xiao Jin raised the Coca-Cola in his hand and said to Boss Chen, get you a bottle of Coke. Here, take a few more bottles, Boss Chen said. Let's go. Xiao Jin turned around and walked towards the door. When he was almost at the door, he raised the Coke in his hand and waved, thank you. Xiao Jin drove the car and returned to Gongchen Bridge. When he walked into the office, Xiao Li looked at him. So soon, Xiao Li asked, sent your father away? Xiao Jin said yes and sent him off. Xiao Li smiled and said, did you and your father have nothing to say, so you dismissed him so quickly? No way. Did you see that my dad even bought me a Coke? Xiao Jin raised the Coca-Cola in his hand and said to Xiao Li. Thank you Quadratic VC for the reward. Thank you W Yuan Lai is your monthly pass for W, Jixing Felt, Dora Eamon, and Jinwu Lanji. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1618. Zhang Chen arrived at the office. As soon as he turned on the computer, MSN was beeping. Xiao Fang was requesting a video connection. Zhang Chen clicked on the video. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiao Fang were having dinner. Zhang Xiangbei showed Zhang Chen a pot of potato stew and beef and say that he made it. Xiao Fang shouted from the side, brother-in-law, look, has Bai Bei inherited your genes? Is the food he cooks good? If you try it, you will know that it tastes great. Zhang Chen looked at the camera. The pot was so messed up that he couldn't tell which was potatoes and which was beef. He lost his appetite just looking at it. However, he still praised, "It's really good. Zhang Xiangbei looks so delicious and delicious, Dad wants to eat it." Zhang Xiangbei said, "When I go back, I will cook it for you." Zhang Chen said okay. As they were talking, Xiang Nan walked in, and Zhang Chen called out, "Xiang Nan, do you want to have a video chat with Zhang Xiangbei and Aunt Xiaofang?" When Xiang Nan heard this, he quickly ran over. Zhang Chen gave his seat to her, and he walked to the sofa and sat down. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised when he saw Xiangnan and asked, "Sister, why are you in Hangzhou? Are you on winter vacation?" "I dropped out of school," Xiangnan said. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiaofang were both surprised. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Sister, what did you say?" "I dropped out of school and stopped going to school. Next, I'm going to work in a theater troupe. Compared with making movies, I still like acting," Xiang Nan said. Zhang Xiangbei didn't believe it and asked, "Can your mother let you go?" "She will definitely disagree, but my group of relatives and friends is too fierce. Under everyone's attack from inside and outside, she has no choice but to surrender," Xiang Nan said. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and said, "Sister, you are so awesome. You have already graduated before I even went to college." Xiangnan put on a straight face and said, "Zhang Xiangbei, be serious. My sister has something to tell you." Zhang Xiangbei put away his smile and said, "I'm serious, sister, please tell me." Zhang Xiangbei, "Let me tell you, you can't learn from your sister, do you know that? You have to go to school well and take exams well, otherwise my sister will ignore you, do you know that?" Xiang Nan said. Zhang Xiangbei agreed, and he said, "If I don't study hard, Aunt Xiaofang won't let me go. You just need someone to take good care of you. If you don't care about you, you will raise your tail," Xiangnan said. "Zhang Xiangbei, don't think that you can hide in the United States. I will keep an eye on you. If you don't behave well, I flew to the United States to teach you a lesson." Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, I understand, sister, don't worry." Xiaofang also said from the side, "Don't worry, Xiangnan, studying at Baibei is still very easy." Xiang Nan nodded and said, "That's good." Zhang Xiangbei showed Xiang Nan the beef and potato stew he had made. Xiang Nan nodded and said, "That's right. Although this dish looks a bit ugly, being able to cook it shows that you have made progress. Keep up the good work, Zhang Xiangbei." Zhang Xiangbei said, "Oh. Okay, Zhang Xiangbei, my sister has to go to work in the financial center next door. Goodbye." "Goodbye, Aunt Xiaofang," Xiangnan waved towards the computer screen. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiaofang also said goodbye to her. This was the second day that Xiang Nan came to work upstairs in the dynamic zone. As soon as she walked out of Zhang Chen's office, she saw Wen Wen in the dormitory building, standing at the door of her room waving to her, and walked to Nan. When he pulled her into the room, closed the door, and told her that she was very happy. "What's wrong?" Xiang Nan asked, confused. "Do you still remember that boss Chen, that bastard who was dishonest during dinner that day? Remember? Taught a lesson." Wen said, and then she danced and danced while talking, how Xiao Jin pressed boss Chen's pig head on the table, and how he punched twice. She said it vividly, as if she was watching from the side. "He is now a national first-level protected animal and a national treasure," Wen said. "What happened to him?" Xiang Nan asked. Wen pointed to her two eyes and said to Xiangnan, "I have turned into a giant panda." Xiang Nan laughed. "Should we go and have a look? Come to his company and see this old friend." Wen clicked her tongue, "I really want to see him." No, it's up to you to go and see," I don't want to go. Xiangnan quickly waved his hand. Okay, but I have to pick up a reporter at the airport in the afternoon. You should prepare for an exclusive interview tomorrow morning, Wenwen and Xiangnan said. Tomorrow is the day when Zhang Chen and his friends will open the Hangzhou Women's Wear Exhibition Hall. Zhang Chen knows that Lu Changcheng and Li Yong will come, but he doesn't know when they will come. It's just that the city government office has been confirming with Zhao Xi and that Lu Changcheng, the mayor of Hangzhou City after Lu Changcheng, the current deputy governor, Li Yong, and the current mayor of Hangzhou City, the 4 previous mayors will collectively ribbon cutting. This shows that they attach great importance to Hangzhou-style women's clothing, the business card of Hangzhou. Zhang Chen knows that this is actually the respect that his successors have for Lu Changcheng. Hangzhou-style women's clothing was promoted by Lu Changcheng and is one of his political achievements. This is everyone's tribute to Lu Changcheng, the old mayor, through the opening of the Hangzhou-style women's wear exhibition hall. As far as their exhibition hall itself is concerned, Zhang Chen knew that it was not of such great importance that it could disturb so many important people. At around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Li Yong called Zhang Chen and told him that he had arrived at Zai's estate guest house. Whatever you want to eat, I'll arrange it tonight, Zhang Chen said. No need, Zhang Chen. Li Yong paused and laughed at himself. Now, I am no longer free. Zhang Chen understood that Li Yong was now a third-level security guard. Wherever he went, there would be a secretary and a guard by his side. Of course, he couldn't just go wherever he wanted. Then I'll come over to see you, Zhang Chen said. Li Yong said yes, I should be free after 8:30 p.m. When you are about to arrive at the hotel, give me a call first. Zhang Chen said yes. At almost 9 o'clock in the evening, when Zhang Chen drove to Nanshan Road, he called Li Yong. When he arrived at the hotel lobby, Li Yong was already waiting for him. Zhang Chen knew that Li Yong was here to let him without visitor registration and necessary interrogation. It would be too much trouble. This is Li Yong's consideration. The two people entered Li Yong's room, and Li Yong said, Zhang Chen, I was on the plane and missed your Tuxianjiayuan cuisine. Zhang Chen smiled and said, okay, we can go there now. Forget it, don't cause that trouble. Li Yong waved his hands and said, looking at Zhang Chen. Both of them laughed. We can also arrange it at noon tomorrow, Zhang Chen said. Li Yong shook his head, sighed and said, I can't help myself. Please forgive me. I can only think about it. After the ribbon cutting tomorrow morning, the province will make arrangements at noon. I will go back to Beijing in the afternoon to see old friends. I only have this little time now. When Li Yong said this, there was some helplessness on his face. Zhang Chen said, Li Yong, do you miss the days of Mayor Li now? To be honest, I don't miss it. It was a day when I felt like I couldn't exert my strength everywhere. It was too painful, Li Yong said. However, I often think of the scene when I was riding a bicycle and going down the 24 turns. Every time before going downhill, I will carefully check the handbrake and brake pads. When going downhill, my hand is holding the handbrake and I dare not let go for a moment. Later, when I was working, I often remembered that I was walking through 24 twists and turns, and I didn't dare to relax for a moment. Only by being cautious can I fulfill my mission. Zhang Chen nodded. By the way, Zhang Chen, there seem to be fewer videos of you online now, Li Yong said. Zhang Chen smiled sheepishly and said, I've been scolded by you so much, how dare I talk nonsense? Li Yong laughed loudly and said, I am not scolding you, but discussing methodology with you. Without investigation, you have no right to speak. If you want to criticize, you must investigate carefully, otherwise it will not help the matter, and just say nothing, it may hurt innocent people. I would not have said this more than 20 years ago, but we are not the same people we were more than 20 years ago. You, Zhang Chen, are also a public figure now. Why you are called a public figure is because your words and deeds will have an impact on the public, so you should be careful what you say. Do you think it's like taking 24 turns? Zhang Chen asked. Li Yong laughed and said, yes, that's the way it is. Don't think that only we are subject to public supervision, and you are the same, and you can't be quick. I dare not say anything anymore, Zhang Chen said. Not only you, but also my son criticized me. Well, it's an honor that Zhang Xiangbei and I have the same view, Li Yong said with a smile. It's rare for young people and I to agree. My son is very disdainful of me now. He doesn't mean that I'm old-fashioned. When he talked about my 8-part gu and back, I didn't expect that I would find a close friend here in Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Chen also laughed and said, Li Yong, you are right. You asked me to calm down and do some research. I can't do it. My greatest ability is to complain, but the internet will expand this complaint infinitely. Many times, even I can't control the scope of its spread, so it's better to say less. Li Yong nodded. By the way, is there still no news about Ganzi and Lao Mang? Li Yong asked. Zhang Chen said no. If there is any news about them, Zhang Chen, you must call me and tell me, Li Yong said. Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen, you asked me earlier if I miss the days of Mayor Li. I told you that I don't. At that time, I felt that I couldn't exert myself everywhere and was too frustrated, but that's not all, Li Yong said. Actually, I don't miss him. There is also a deep sense of frustration, and it feels unbearable to look back. Just after you, Zhuangzi, and Lao Mang came to see me, at that time, I suddenly felt as if I had a foundation in my heart. This foundation was brought to me by you, and I was supported by you. At that time, I felt that we can do something practical and change the face of poverty in that place. But you also know the result. I still fell short. Zhang Chen, do you know what made me feel the most uncomfortable and finally made up my mind to leave that place? Zhang Chen shook his head. It's not the actions of some people. I can think of the actions of some people with my knees and take precautions. What makes me feel uncomfortable is that it is those villagers who are most in favor of distributing the money immediately. This is something I have never thought of, and this is what I told you. In China, the complexity of things may exceed our imagination, and we cannot define anything. Li Yong said. Zhang Chen nodded. Thank you for the rewards from the third one from top to bottom, Doll Tin Soldier, Toad Dreaming of Flying, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, 2 fishes 1 up and 1 down, and reading books every day. Thank you for your monthly votes from Purple Hay, Book Friends 20200416214645353, Lightweight, 999 Little Benio 999, Taizongshang 1, Wang Wenhai, Tamagotchi, Why Can't I Change My Name, Smiling to the Wind, and End How. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1619. The Hangzhou-style women's wear exhibition hall was opened. Li Yong returned to Beijing, but Zhang Chen suddenly felt that he was always uneasy. After thinking about it, it was because Lu Ligan and Meng Ping were not missing. Zhang Chen didn't know how everything was handled in Nanjing. Zhang Chen and Qian Fang talked on the phone several times. Qian Fang was hesitant, as if there was something he couldn't say on the phone, and he didn't know what money was. What is Fang afraid of? Zhang Chen called Xiao Wu, and he decided to go to Nanjing. Zhang Chen gave Wen Wen the key to his office. Wen Wen was arranging intensive interviews with Xiangnan in the past 2 days. Zhang Chen said, "You can arrange to go to the club if you want. I'll say hello to Xiao Wan." Wen Wen said, "No, it's more delicious here. That is, you have to give me the unlimited free bill at Tuxianjiayuan Hotel." Zhang Chen agreed, and he called the general manager of Tuxianjiayuan Hotel and explained to her. Qian Fang and his company have moved to the company where Meng Pingyuan is from Xinjia Yikao. Qianfang said that from time to time people from Shaoxing would come to the door. There was just a little girl there. We were afraid that we wouldn't be able to cope with it, so we just moved there, but, after we moved there, no one came. Zhang Chen said, it's not that one person didn't come, it's that they have also run away now. What's going on, Zhang Chen? Qianfang asked. Zhang Chen actually met Mr. Huang once at the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. He was looking at the exhibition carefully and saw Zhang Chen. Mr. Huang was very happy. Zhang Chen also had a good impression of him. Seeing him here, it shows that he is not bragging when he says that he has learned painting before. Zhang Chen also took Mr. Huang to their warehouse, looked at some paintings stored there, and sat and chatted for a while. Mr. Huang told Zhang Chen that many of the people from Shaoxing who were looking for Lu Ligan could not be contacted now and ran away. On the way, Zhang Chen didn't understand. Mr. Huang told him that the money they lent to Lao Ni was not all their own, but was also borrowed from everywhere, and they made some profit margins. Think about it, Lao Ni died and the company was taken over by the government. If workers' wages and bank loans are dealt with first, where will their usury be found? The people who lent them money couldn't find Lao Ni, so they looked for them. They were in charge of the money, so they couldn't rely on it even if they wanted to. What if they didn't run away? Where could they get the money back? Zhang Chen understood. Zhang Chen told Qianfang about this, and Qianfang understood. She said, no wonder. When Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu arrived at Qianfang's company, Qianfang, Su Jiaking, and Li Yang were all there. They were very happy to see Zhang Chen coming. Qianfang said, I thought Lao Meng was not here. Mr. Zhang, you have forgotten us. Zhang Chen smiled and said, how come? I have wanted to come here for a long time. I am just afraid that when I get to Nanjing, I will think of Mengping and feel uncomfortable. Li Yang went to Hangzhou the day before yesterday, and we talked about Mengping again. I thought, why don't I come here? I want to come and take a look, and I never know how Mengping's matter was handled in the end. The time is too close, I'm afraid it's inconvenient for you to tell, but now, it's been so long, there should be a final result, right? Qianfang shook her head. She said it was still hanging there, and it was quite troublesome. From an economic point of view, Lao Meng had not lost anything. We had saved everything we should have for him. Now it was a deadlock, but, alas, it was a bit troublesome. What's wrong? Zhang Chen asked. Qianfang was silent. She told Li Yang, please stay with Xiao Wu. Li Yang said yes. Qianfang and Zhang Chen said to sit in my office. Zhang Chen knew that Qianfang had something secret to tell him, so Zhang Chen said yes. The two people walked into Qianfang's office. Qianfang closed the door of the office. The two people sat down on the sofa. Qianfang said, in Shaoxing, the police have also come to see Lao Meng. Although the case has not been filed yet, as soon as Lao Meng shows up, the police will definitely take him away, and he can't even explain it clearly, Qianfang said. Ah, Zhang Chen was shocked and asked, how could this happen? Is there any relationship between Mengping and Lao Ni's death? No, it has nothing to do with Lao Ni's death. Qianfang looked at the closed office door and said to Zhang Chen, if you hadn't come, I wouldn't have dared to tell you about this on the phone. Zhang Chen, do you know what Lao Meng guaranteed in Lao Ni's IOU? Of course Zhang Chen remembered it and asked, but I heard someone say that the official seal on it is fake. Yes, it can be said to be fake. The official seal registered in the Industrial and Commercial Bureau of Lao Meng's company was not this one. Lao Meng himself didn't know it. He thought it was real, but the seal he stamped on it turned out to be a fake one. Qianfang said, this has been judicially appraised, so the Shaoxing people lost all their civil lawsuits in Nanjing. The more Zhang Chen listened, the more confused he became. What official seal was fake, and Mengping didn't know? Zhang Chen also believed that Meng Ping was not the kind of person who would use fake seals to deceive others, so why did he think it was a genuine seal? Zhang Chen said, "Qian Fang, the more I listen, the more confused I become. What is going on?" It would be a long story to tell about this matter. Qian Fang sighed, "There is something embarrassing about Lao Meng. No one outside knows about it. I think he himself would not be embarrassed to tell you about it." "What's the matter?" Zhang Chen asked. "Do you know what national heritage is?" Qian Fang asked. Zhang Chen shook his head. Qian Fang laughed and cursed. "Sure enough, I guessed it right. Lao Meng was too embarrassed to talk about it. It was ridiculous. That time, if Li Yang hadn't been alert and discovered something fishy, Lao Meng would have been completely screwed." "What on earth is going on, Qian Fang?" Zhang Chen asked. Qian Fang thought that until now, there was no question of saving any face for Meng Ping. Besides, Zhang Chen was no better than others, and it would really be unclear if we didn't start with the heritage of this ghost nation. Qian Fang sat there and told Zhang Chen everything about the national heritage. Zhang Chen was amazed and felt that these swindlers were so powerful. In order to successfully deceive, they even gave up millions of dollars to themselves. Piao didn't care, and besides, they really had Meng Ping under control, starting with the old colleagues he trusted the most. After Zhang Chen heard this, he also felt thrilling. If it weren't for Li Yang's keen sense of smell, he found their clues. This guy's mobility was super strong and he could keep a close eye on them. Meng Ping finally, "Really, I don't know how he died." Zhang Chen shook his head and sighed for a while, then asked Qian Fang, "But, what does this have to do with what happened next?" Qian Fang said, "Think about it, if we are not alert when such a big thing happens, it is like Lao Meng's company has opened its doors to others for looting. Although there is no money in the account, all the official seals and corporate seals are in their hands here. Do you know what they covered it with and where they used it? The pledge procedures were only discovered by us. Are there other things that we haven't discovered?" Zhang Chen nodded and said yes, the potential risks in this matter are indeed very high. Xiao must have gone to the newspaper right away, declaring that the original seal was invalid, engraving a new seal, and filing with the Industrial and Commercial Bureau again. When carving the seal, Xiao kept an eye on it and told me that we also felt that Lao Meng would be deceived the second time, so we asked him to keep the seal by himself. This guy would still be cheated in the future. I don't know what will be covered randomly, the risk is too high. After we discussed it, we decided to engrave two sets of seals, and deliberately made the difference between the two sets of seals very big. Then, we went to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau to register one set. After the set was registered, Xiao locked it in the safe. "Here, return the other set that has not been filed to Lao Meng. Of course, you cannot tell Lao Meng about this." "I understand." Meng Ping always thought that what he was holding was the official seal of his company, so he took this set of seals with him when he went to Hangzhou. "The guarantee letter was stamped with this official seal, right?" Zhang Chen asked. Qian Fang said yes, so when the people from Shaoxing filed a lawsuit with the court, we immediately pointed out that the official seal on it was fake. We went to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau to obtain the filing information, and then provided it to the Judicial Appraisal Center for appraisal. The appraisal result came out. The official seal was indeed fake, and all Shaoxing people lost the case. So that's what happened. Zhang Chen understood. By the way, how come it has anything to do with the Shaoxing police? After the Shaoxing people lost the lawsuit, they called the police when they returned to Shaoxing. If Lao Meng's stamp was a fake guarantee stamp, it would involve fraud, Qian Fang said, but because of the three parties involved, Lao Ni is already dead. Lao Meng and Zanza can't be found again. Now they only have one side of the story, and they have no way to prove that this chapter was written by Lao Meng. So the public security has no way to file a case for the time being. They just hope to find Ganzi and Lao Meng and clarify this fact. Once clarified, they can file a case depending on the situation. Zhang Chen nodded. Qian Fang's face was full of worry. She said, "Right now, we are just hoping that Lao Meng will not show up again. If he shows up unexpectedly and is found by the Shaoxing police, Zhang Chen, you also know that as for Lao Meng, don't you know what will happen to him? He will definitely admit that he built it," Zhang Chen said. "Yes, and why the fake seal was stamped? Is it clear? We can prove that Lao Meng didn't know it was a fake seal, but we have no way to prove that he didn't know," Qian Fang said. "The worst thing is that after this happened, Meng Ping disappeared, which further confirmed that he knew the possibility of his affair being exposed," Zhang Chen said. "Yes, only those who really know Lao Meng as a person will everything we say seem reasonable. Otherwise, who will believe it? A boss holding a fake seal without even knowing it is too ridiculous." "Right," Qian Fang said with a bitter smile, "we all don't know how Lao Meng can help himself get away with it. There's another thing. When you filed the lawsuit, you categorically proved that the chapter was fake. If it was finally discovered that you knew that the chapter was fake, and you were the one who made the fake seal, you would probably do the same." "Is there something wrong?" Zhang Chen asked. "That's right. Anyway, this matter can't be explained clearly," Qian Fang said. "Some combination of circumstances made the basket bigger and bigger." "Qian Fang, do you think Meng Ping knows about this? He knows that the police are looking for him, and he can figure it out on his own. If this chapter is fake, it must have been done by you. If he shows up, he will definitely treat you unfavorable." Zhang Chen thought about it and asked. Qian Fang was stunned for a while, and then said, "Zhang Chen, if you say this, it is really possible. If so, it will make sense." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, this makes sense, and this matter has become a chain of events. If Meng Ping doesn't show up, the Pole can't show up. If the Pole shows up, the police will also look for him, and he can still identify Meng Ping. Say that chapter was indeed written by Meng Ping. If the Pole says so, the police will immediately open a case and Meng Ping will be wanted." Qian Fang sat there and murmured, "Yes, yes, why does this matter seem to be unsolvable?" After a long time, Qian Fang said, "If we can find Lao Meng and we come to admit this matter, I will bear the responsibility. I decided to change the official seal. What should I be afraid of?" Zhang Chen smiled bitterly and said, "Don't you know Meng Ping yet? The more he knows, the less he will let you take responsibility. Thank you Quadratic VC for the reward. Thank you for the monthly pass for Daos Hung 123, Yunlong Frogfish, Jinwu Longji, and Look at the Landscape. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1620. After talking about the matter and understanding the situation clearly, Zhang Chen and Qian Fang said that it doesn't matter. We can all handle this big thing together. After all, isn't this matter caused by money? If Meng Ping and you contact him and tell him to come back, the worst we can do is pay back all the money. How big the crime will be? Whether it's the police or the other party, if the money is cleared, I don't think they will pursue it too closely. If it involves fraud, it is still more troublesome. Fraud is a public prosecution crime. Even if the money is paid back, the crime cannot be reduced. At most, it will only be considered in sentencing, Qian Fang said. Our legal consultant also works with. We have made it very clear that this is where our headaches lie. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, "When I met Li Yong this time, he still cared about Meng Ping and Zhang Zi. I think if it doesn't work, I will go to Beijing then and I will go to Li Yong and ask him to help talk. We don't need him to bend the law for personal gain. It's just a matter of help, just explain things clearly, no one listens to our words, and people will always believe his words, knowing that Meng Ping is not the kind of person who knows how to deceive. Qian Fang said yes, if money can solve all problems, we are ready here. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu were about to return to Hangzhou, but Qian Fang and Li Yang refused to let them go, insisting that they stay in Nanjing for one night. Su Jiaking said, just across the street, in the Asia-Pacific Business Building, the rooms have been opened for you, and you can also live in the house developed by Lao Meng. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu could only stay. We had dinner at a restaurant called King Feng Jai. This place was a bit special. After they sat down, the waiter just came over and asked if they had any dietary restrictions, then walked away without giving them their order, but the food was served immediately. Come up. Li Yang and Zhang Chen said that the food here is Jianghu cuisine. What do you mean? Zhang Chen asked. You don't have to order. You eat whatever he serves. What kind of dishes you can eat today all depends on your luck. It also depends on the chef's mood and what he is cooking now, Li Yang said. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu laughed. This way of eating was quite unique. Zhang Chen said. Brother Liu Bang, the founder of the Han Dynasty, also said that the food at our Tuxianjiayuan Hotel is Jianghu food, but he said it differently. What's the explanation? Li Yang asked. Isn't our food a local dish from Zhejiang, plus fatty Fu's Hunan cuisine? Zhejiang and Hunan combined, aren't they called Jianghu? Zhang Chen said. Ya Yulan nodded and said, I think Brother Liu's statement is more appropriate. It's a bit forced here. Zhang Chen looked at the food in front of him and said, however, this place is so overbearing. Looking at the name of the restaurant, I think this is not Jianghu food, but more like bandit food. You have to eat it even if you don't want to eat it? Li Yang and Qian Fang also laughed. Li Yang said yes, if the bandit dish is so embarrassing, I will tell the boss immediately and ask him to change it. Although the food served in this place is casual, the taste of the food is very good. No wonder the business in such a domineering place is very good and the seats are packed. Zhang Chen thought about it and understood. If there were only a few woks in the kitchen, everyone would fry them every day. My specialty dish, the taste of this dish is hard to imagine. Qian Fang and Zhang Chen said that this also captured the psychology of the guests. First of all, everyone likes to bring their own guests to have a special meal. We have this intention today. Another point is that although his place is casual, it is still very particular. Yes, no matter how many people you come, they will control the food per person within 80, not counting drinks, so it is not random. Zhang Chen nodded and said, in this case, many people bring friends, and he can even calculate how much money he has to spend on the treat. Yes, Qian Fang said, this seems casual, but there is still the shrewdness of the boss. This is his business experience. Qian Fang, Li Yang, Su Jiaking, and Ya Yulan all came for dinner today, but they didn't see Cao Ziahe. When Zhang Chen and the others arrived at the company in the afternoon, they didn't see them either. Zhang Chen asked. Where's Sister Cao? Qian Fang said, I went back to my hometown to deal with my own personal affairs. Su Jiaking shouted, what a private matter. Mr. Zhang and Xiao Wu are not outsiders. You can know that Sister Cao went back to go through divorce procedures with her bastard husband. Zhang Chen knew Cao Ziahe's life experience very well, but hadn't she been avoiding her husband all this time? Why did she come to visit her now? As for their marriage, it has been so many years, and it should have been in name only for a long time. Bar. Qian Fang and Zhang Chen said, Sister Cao wants to forget, but she refuses. Not only does she refuse, but this bastard also found out from somewhere that Sister Cao is in Nanjing. Her career is doing well now. This bastard, come on, you came to the door, saying that he wanted to recognize Yuan Yuan as his daughter, but actually he didn't want to rely on Sister Cao. Zhang Chen nodded and said, there are indeed many such scoundrels nowadays. He just stayed in the company and refused to leave. Li Yang even found someone to teach him a lesson, but the bastard still limped into the company the next day. Sister Cao and Yuan hid and refused to see him. He was making trouble in the company, saying that since he couldn't see them, he wouldn't go back. Even the police from the police station couldn't do anything. He took out his marriage certificate and showed it to them to prove that they were indeed still husband and wife. The people at the police station confirmed that the Cao Ziahe on the marriage certificate was indeed the Cao Ziahe here. The police could not do anything. He just came to find his wife and daughter. How could the police control him? In the end, Sister Cao had no choice but to come out to meet him. She also told him that in their situation, if he disagreed, Sister Cao would file for divorce through court proceedings. This bastard said that he could get a divorce, but he had to pay him 10 million. He also said that he had consulted a lawyer before coming here. He said that in his situation, he could ask for a divorce even if he went to the court to file a lawsuit. Divide Sister Cao's property. It's really a bit troublesome to deal with this matter, Zhang Chen said. No trouble. Qian Fang shook her head. Sister Cao had actually expected that he would do this one day, so when Yuan turned 18, Sister Cao gave away her company shares and house. Everything was transferred to Yuan's name. Sister Cao herself doesn't even have a bank card. When it comes to the court, Sister Cao can definitely say that her daughter is supporting her. This is really good. Sister Cao thought far ahead. Zhang Chen sighed. You know who your husband is, and Sister Cao knows him too well. Sister Cao told him that not only would he not be able to get a penny, but Yuan could also sue him, claiming that he had not fulfilled his duties to the obligation to support oneself. When this bastard saw what happened, he was dumbfounded and had no choice but to leave. We all thought he had given up and gave up. Unexpectedly, he came again the next day. This time, he came to see Sister Cao. Asking to see Yuan, he said that Sister Cao had no right to prevent him from seeing his daughter, and that Sister Cao must tell him where Yuan was currently studying as a graduate student. Furthermore, he also said that since Yuan is able to support his mother, then Yuan must also support his father. He also took out the medical records and said that he had such and such diseases and had lost the ability to work. Yuan had lost the ability to work. If he doesn't support him or give him money, he will go to court to sue Yuan. In short, he knows that Sister Cao can't get any benefit from this, so he just stares at Yuan and is very annoyed. What a scoundrel! What happened in the end? Zhang Chen asked. Qian Fang pointed at Li Yang and said, he found a friend in Wuhan and found out about this bastard's situation. It turned out that the bastard had an affair with Sister Cao and Yuan the year after they left. A woman lived together and gave birth to a daughter. That daughter is now 16 years old and in high school. This is a de facto marriage. Sister Cao can in turn accuse him of bigamy, which will lead to jail time. The lawyer spread all the evidence in front of him. The bastard immediately withered. He probably asked the lawyer himself and knew that it was true. That's what happened. If Sister Cao bit him to death, he would not be able to escape from prison, so he panicked and told Sister Cao that he agreed to divorce and didn't want anything. Is the matter resolved? Zhang Chen asked. It's settled. Jia and Li Yang went back with Sister Cao and Yuan last week to complete the divorce procedures, Qian Fang said. Zhang Chen was surprised. He asked, it's all done, so why isn't Sister Cao coming back? Oh, Sister Cao and Yuan Xin are so nice, Su Jiaking said. When we were going through the divorce procedures, the woman came with her daughter. They were probably worried that Sister Cao would not let that bastard go. They were the little girl who came to beg Sister Cao and Yuan to let him go, held Yuan Yuan's hand and screamed like sister, which made Yuan Yuan's heart soften. After the things were done, we all had dinner together. The little girl invited Yuan Yuan to play at her home again. Yuan Yuan agreed. When Yuan Yuan went, we had no choice but to go with her. But when we got there, we saw that the home didn't feel like a home. Worse than the slums in India. Yuan Yuan discussed with her mother and they bought them a house, but the house was directly in the name of the little girl. Sister Cao said, otherwise that bastard might gamble away the house whenever he wants. After losing and leaving some money for them, the matter was finally settled. After this matter is done, Sister Cao can go back to her parents' home in a dignified manner. They are planning to bring Yuan Yuan's grandparents to Nanjing. As a result, the two old people have not left yet, and Yuan Yuan's two uncles are staying for them. There was a quarrel again in the old house downstairs. Sister Cao told them that she didn't want any of it and would give it all to the two of them. The two of them couldn't stop arguing. Sister Cao is staying there. After comforting her two younger brothers, she will bring her parents to Nanjing. Now that I'm here, I'm afraid I'll never go back again, Jian Fang sighed. The most pitiful person is Yuan Yuan. She went back to her hometown for the first time after becoming an adult. I didn't expect her hometown to be like this. I think she was frightened. If she hadn't stayed with Sister Cao, she would have fled back to Nanjing with us. Yes, Su Jiaking said. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly votes from Hu Hu, Daodu, Do Shang 8B, Gongzimian Z, Toad Dreaming of Flying, Lao Zi, Pole Starfelt, Humor Tribe, Book Friends 202004162146453533, and Book Friends 201811071825333788. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1621. After dinner, everyone went to the karaoke hall to sing. While singing, Su Jiaking remembered Lu Ligan's Hey 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 and performed it for everyone. Everyone laughed so hard that they burst into tears. After Su Jiaking finished singing, Qian Fang shouted, "It's time for Mr. Zhang to perform Young Aspirations Don't Say Sorrows." Ya Yulan quickly found the song, and Zhang Chen picked up the microphone and sang several winds and rains, spring and autumn. Everyone played noisily in the karaoke hall until past 12 o'clock, and then went to eat beef hot pot. When we returned to Jinling Hotel and parted ways, it was almost 2 o'clock. The next morning, just as Zhang Chen woke up, Qian Fang called, saying that she and Li Yang were waiting for them in the lobby and would take them to Wangfu Street to eat belly noodles. Zhang Chen then remembered that while having supper last night, everyone talked about the first time Zhang Chen and the others came to Nanjing to visit Meng Pingping in Lohukiao prison and saw Li Yang. Zhang Chen said that at that time, "This guy is so stubborn that I really want to kick him to death. He will arrive as soon as he opens his mouth, but it will not arrive for several hours." Qian Fang and the others laughed. Qian Fang said that he is a completely different person now, especially after Lao Meng's accident. He probably feels that he is the only man in the family and he has to shoulder heavy burdens. If he tells you now, he will be there soon, and he will definitely be there soon. Arrive. Li Yang chuckled. Su Jiaking raised his thumb, pointed at himself and said, "All the credit is mine. Reforming him, you don't know, is more difficult than reforming war criminals." Everyone laughed. Talking about what happened that day, Zhang Chen said that the skin belly noodles on Wangfu Street were delicious and impressive. Li Yang said, "The shop is still there and he will take you to eat there tomorrow morning." It was such a casual saying that Zhang Chen had forgotten it, but Qian Fang and Li Yang still remembered that they rushed over early in the morning. Zhang Chen quickly picked up the phone on the bedside table and called Xiao Wu's room to ask him to hurry up. When he woke up, he rolled out of bed and went to the bathroom to wash up. The two of them arrived downstairs and saw Qianfang and Li Yang. Zhang Chen asked Li Yang, "Where is Jia Cheng?" Li Yang said, "Still in bed." Zhang Chen nodded and said, "Yes, it seems that she has really transformed you." Qianfang and Xiao Wu laughed. When they arrived at Wangfu Street, at the entrance of the alley next to the Chengjian building, they saw that the pigeon noodle shop was still open there. Zhang Chen was overjoyed. After eating a large bowl of large intestine skin, their bellies were full. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu were here to say goodbye to Qianfang and Li Yang. They gave Qianfang the room card of Jinling Hotel, and they went back to Hangzhou directly from here. Zhang Chen and Qianfang made an appointment to ask Meng Ping to make a call to them if Meng Ping contacted them. Qianfang and Li Yang both agreed. Xiao Wu drove the car along Wangfu Street and turned right onto Jianyi Road. As soon as he arrived at the entrance of Chaotian Palace, Zhang Chen's phone rang. It was a second-rate guy. Zhang Chen picked up the phone. The second-hand guy asked, "Instructor, where are you?" Zhang Chen said, "Xiao Wu and I were on our way back to Hangzhou from Nanjing." "Instructor, can you come to Songjiang?" Huo said. "What's wrong, you idiot?" "Forced to support, our logistics base is going to be demolished," Huo said. "The university town is going to be expanded." "Forced to support, our place will be expanded as well." "Ah," Zhang Chen was shocked, "why is it so sudden?" No, instructor, I may not have made it clear. We are asked to move, still in Songjiang, but to the other side of the highway. The ones we are forced to raise are not on the new city side, but on the old city side. Instructor, you'd better come. Look at the place, Huo said. Zhang Chen said, "Yes, we will come right away, we will be there in a minute." After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu said, "Let's go to the second shop." Xiao Wu said, "I heard it, why is it being demolished again? It's so unlucky, and it keeps being demolished." Zhang Chen thought to himself, "Yes, the demolition will continue. When will the demolition be completed?" But when he thought about it carefully, it was inevitable that the logistics base in Songjiang would be demolished, even if it was not the expansion of the university town. It seems that every city is like this now, whether it is Pudong in Shanghai or Qianjiang New Town in Hangzhou. When it was first developed, everyone was disgusted with it, saying, "I would rather have a bed in Puxi than an apartment in Pudong." But now, the most expensive houses in Shanghai are in Pudong. The same is true in Hangzhou. Just a few years ago, Qianjiang New Town still needed to buy a house and register as a user to attract people to buy a house. But now, the best and most expensive new residential communities in Hangzhou are all in Qianjiang New Town and the Old City. Residents are moving to Qianjiang New Town. The same is true for Songjiang New Town. At the beginning, everyone was reluctant to move to the new town and preferred to stay in the old town. But now, the university town has been built, Thames Town has been built, and the subway from downtown Shanghai to Songjiang has also been built. Now, Songjiang New Town is already quite large. The new town is bustling with people, but on the contrary, the old town has become deserted. There is a Shanghai-Hangzhou expressway between Songjiang New City and the Old City. Moving their logistics base to the expressway is obviously because the relevant departments do not think the future of the Old City is bullish. Zhang Chen had not done any research, but he thought to himself that there should be a big difference in land prices between this side of Songjiang's expressway and that side of the expressway. You can also see it when driving on the expressway. The entire villa area seems to they are all here in the new city and there in the old city. There is almost no movement. Songjiang Old Town, the root of Shanghai before the opening of Shanghai, and the economic, cultural, and political center of Shanghai at that time, seems to have reached its end at this time. The changes of the times have ruthlessly pushed it to the edge step by step. Become more marginalized. Zhongchen's current logistics space has University Town on the left, Songjiang New Town on the right, and Thames Town beyond that. A few years ago, this place seemed remote and deserted, but now it is a downtown area with such a large display. A logistics space of this size is indeed not suitable. However, in the past few years, after demolition of this and that, I have been demolished constantly, and I have almost become a professional demolition household, and every demolition is not a strain on my muscles and bones. Zhongchen sighed. At noon, they arrived at Erhuo. Erhuo told Zhongchen that almost all the warehouses in the city had been demolished. The government now also knows the importance of a large logistics space to a very large city. If there is no at a transfer station like ours, the supply of various materials and transportation throughout the city will definitely be disrupted. Forcing raised people, what they say is better than what they sing. They say it's because our logistics space is relatively standardized, so we hope to expand our scale. In fact, forced raising people, I asked clearly, it's not because of us. This place has become lively now, and the price of land has increased, so they want to take it back and sell it to those real estate developers, Erhuo scolded. Isn't it the expansion of the university town? Zhongchen asked. It is said that the university town will be expanded, but the expansion will be a social service functional area. If it is forced to be raised, then it is not sold to real estate developers, Erhuo said. Zhongchen nodded. Indeed, it was just a land acquisition under another name. In the end, it was still real estate. What are the conditions? Zhongchen asked. The conditions are not bad. Use more than 800 acres of land over there to replace our land. The compensation for the house will be calculated separately, but there is one requirement, Erhuo said. Any request? The forced one requires that the entire logistics space cannot be stopped, which means that it cannot be demolished until the other side is built. The forced one requires us to advance a large amount of money to build it first, Erhuo said. When will it be built? Zhongchen asked. Before the end of October, Erhuo said. So urgent. So I called you early in the morning and asked you to come over and take a look, Erhuo said, but, instructor, you don't have to worry about the construction funds. I still have this money, Zhongchen said. I'm forced to raise a child. I don't need my own money if I have money. I've already thought about it, Erhuo said. What have you thought about? Zhongchen asked curiously. After signing the agreement here, a part of the compensation will be given first, Erhuo said. There is also a part. Now there are many people who want to rent our warehouse, especially those express companies, who rent thousands of warehouses for one rent. Square. It also requires a long-term contract. Forced, I called Wu Zayawai earlier, and he said that they need at least 6,000 square meters, and he can give him 10,000, and it is best to have a big room, where they need to install sorting facilities and robots. Something like that. They were forced to look like they were advanced. There are many such customers. These customers are forced to raise money. I ask them to pay the rent in advance. They will agree. Wu Zayawai agreed earlier. I want to divide the warehouse over there into two parts. One is like Wu Zayawai and others, you take the drawings and I will build it for you, but you have to pay 5 years rent in advance. They are worried that the rent will increase in the future, but they are willing to do it. The other part is the same as here. It is still a standard warehouse. If you want to rent such a warehouse, you must pay 1 year's rent in advance. Then, I did the math and found that the money to build the warehouse is basically enough. Zhongchen smiled and said, you are still smart. The second-rate guy chuckled and said, I just didn't think well about it. What's wrong with you? Zhongchen asked. It's just that it's not cost-effective for us to exchange such good land here for land over there, Erhuo said. Zhongchen shook his head and said, don't think about it. Since the government has already planned it, let you move. If you don't move, there will be 10,000 ways to make you move. Besides, whether the land is good or not has little to do with us. This is storage land, we have no way to develop real estate, everything has to be returned to the collection and storage center. How much does it have to do with us whether the land is good or not? It cannot change its nature. From a logistics-based point of view, this place is really not suitable for us. The flow of people is getting denser and denser. We have so many vehicles coming in and out every day, which is actually very unsafe. Yes, I have to hold a meeting for those drivers who are forced to pay attention to their safety. If something happens, it will be really difficult to deal with it, the second-hand man said. Yes, if we accidentally kill a college student, we will be vilified on the internet, Zhang Chen said. Since we know that we can't defeat the government, we might as well cooperate with them. Everyone, let's go and take us there. Look at that place. The second guy agreed, and the three of them stood up and walked outside. Xiao Wu remembered it and asked, "Second guy, did that customer last time write a letter of apology in the end?" "Of course I wrote it. I was forced to write it. I said it was not profound. I asked him to revise it 3 times and finally passed it so the second guy said, "When I read it at the meeting, after reading it once, I thought his voice was too soft. He read it again, shouting, and his voice was almost hoarse. He was forced to read it, and I couldn't torture him to death." Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu laughed, and Zhang Chen asked, "What was the final effect?" "The agreement has been signed, and then there are no more people messing around inside." Urquio chuckled, "The government of this place somehow knew about this, and it was forced to do so it praises our management." Specification. The 3 people got in the car, and the second guy took Zhang Chen and the others to the other side of the highway. This large area, outside the old town of Songjiang, is a stretch of old industrial factories and a large swamp. The traffic in this place is still there. It's convenient, not far from the expressway exit and right next to the Shanghai-Hangzhou Expressway. If it is a logistics base, this is a good location. Zhang Chen and Huo said, "I think it's okay here. You can confirm it with them." Thank you Aj Anji Zyok and book friend 20210109105822605 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.